Hit subscribe. Subscribe to my guy, Uncle D. Tell him Big Bass sent you.
Spurling. I'm an attorney here in Houston, Texas. An advocate for black men, largely because I am a black man. I'm a black father. I have black sons. Hey, man, I do what I do. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Dennis Spurling podcast. I appreciate you tuning in today, tonight, this morning, wherever you are around the world. And whether you're driving or working out or cooking dinner, or simply taking a moment for yourself, we're living through a time of reckoning. Policies by Donald Trump and the Republican Party are spotlighting structural racism, rewrites of history, attacks on diversity initiatives. And many in the black community are saying we are resting, we're healing. We're not getting caught up in the political circus right now. And this is exactly why today's conversation is critical, because when this chapter passes, when we eventually return to the work we've been doing for 400 plus years, we can't go back to the old normal. We can't go back to the place where black men and black women are at war, where our differences are exploited by our open enemy, and where we forget that our relationship to one another set the tone for our sons, our daughters, our unions, our workplaces, and our culture at large. Right now is part of the healing. One of the conversations that must be had, even if it's uncomfortable, is the relationship that black men and black women have with their mothers. It matters because how a black man feels about his mother shapes how he engages with black women in every arena. And whether she's his wife, his daughter, his coworker, or just another sister in the street, if he doesn't have peace with his mother, how can he have peace with this woman who mirrors her attributes? It's time to do the work, and it's time to go there. And so I want to deal with something right now, and because I already know what's coming. Some of you will hear what I've said today, and instead of reflecting, you'll react. You'll get angry, defensive, maybe even lash out. You call me names. You'll say, Dennis Spurling must hate black women. You'll say, these men are damaged. Or what about the fathers? Can I get an amen on that? See, we're going to get something straight. See, this isn't about hating mothers. This is about telling the truth that has been silenced for generations. Can I get an amen? See, for decades, the black community has built an untouchable mythology around the black mother. She's the one person you're never allowed to criticize her, no matter what she does. She can abandon her children. She can lie to them, emotionally abuse them. She can weaponize religion, guilt, or femininity against them. And society still says, don't you dare talk about your mama like that. She's become the sacred cow of the black community, worshiped, protected, beyond reproach. But here's the problem. Shout out to Hoss Martin, look, when you can't be corrected, then you can't be improved. And if no one holds her accountable, then the damage never stops. When over 60,000 men, especially black men, are publicly saying they've cut their mothers off. That's not a coincidence. That's a crisis. You can't dismiss that, that many testimonies as bitterness or misogyny. These are grown men who suffered in silence for years, and finally they're telling their stories. And if your first instinct is to attack them instead of listening to them, then that says more about your ego than their pain. Now, for those of you all who say, well, what about the fathers? I'll say this once, and I'm going to say it clearly. If the father wasn't there, how can you blame an absent man for the actions of a present woman? So you can't project your failures or your emotional instability or your cruelty on someone who wasn't in the home. If he was gone, you were the parent who stayed. You were the one raising the child. You were the one shaping his reality, molding his view of love or respect or womanhood. And if the son grew up broken or confused or angry or detached, you had influence over that outcome because you were there. And if the father was there, then this still isn't about him. We've studied father wounds for generations. Every therapist, every psychologist, every talk show has dissected daddy issues to death. We've written books about them. We built careers off them, and we've reshaped family law around them. But what we have not done, especially in the black community, is look at the other side of that wound. The truth is, this conversation isn't unique to us. White men talk about their mothers' failings in therapy. Asian men do it. Latino men do it. The difference is that when they speak up, they're heard. When black men do it, they're demonized. So understand this. We're not here to shame all black mothers, okay? We're not here to shame any black mothers. We're here to stop pretending that motherhood automatically equals moral perfection, because the data, the testimonies, and the lived experiences of thousands of sons prove otherwise. If you are a mother listening to this and your first reaction is to get angry, I want you to pause. And I want you to ask yourself why. If you feel attacked, maybe it's because there's something inside you that recognizes the truth you've never faced. This is your moment to reflect, not to deflect. And those who still say, well, you should never talk about your mother, I say this: silence is what allowed the pain to spread. Silence is what kept generations of boys from healing. Silence is what turned wounded sons into detached fathers. The cycle ends when we stop worshiping people simply because they gave birth and start judging them by how they raised the children they brought into this world. This message isn't meant to destroy the image of the black mother. It's meant to humanize her. Okay? It's meant to hold her to the same standard of accountability that everyone else faces, because love without accountability isn't love. It is enablement. And that's why this conversation is necessary. Not because we hate our mothers, but because we love the truth. Now, let me make something clear, okay? I've had this conversation on my channel on numerous occasions. Okay, this is not just a day I just decided to wake up and talk about it. This is a continuation of a discussion we've been having on this channel for years. Back in December 16, 2023, I re-aired a broadcast that I originally did 2 years earlier in 2021 entitled "Black Men Secretly Don't Like Their Mothers." You can still find that discussion on my YouTube. And that broadcast struck a nerve then, and it's still resonating today, because at the end of that program, I hosted a panel of black men who courageously sat down and explained in raw, unfiltered honesty that the reasons they did not like their mothers was for things that we all understood to be true but never addressed. They talked about neglect. They talked about manipulation. They talked about emotional abuse. They talked about confusion growing up in homes where love came with control or contradiction. What made that discussion powerful wasn't the pain alone, it was the pattern. See, these weren't isolated stories, these were shared experiences, and the reaction from viewers, especially women, showed me something important. That as much as this topic hurts, it needs to be confronted because until we name the truth, we can't heal from it. Now, this isn't just about sons. And let me be clear, this conversation is not one-sided. There's enough pain and resentment to go around. Okay? There's enough misunderstanding to go around. I've always addressed the other side of this dynamic because this isn't just about sons who dislike their mothers. It's about mothers who have quietly resented or even hated their sons. Back in February 19th, 2024, I did a rebroadcast, the broadcast I had done 3 years before when mothers hate their sons. And you can find it right here on my YouTube channel. That conversation went deep into the truth that most people don't like and won't talk about. And that sometimes that hatred between mothers and sons starts with the mother. And I broke it down how some women project their pain from failed relationships onto their boys, seeing their sons not as children, but as reminders of the men who hurt them. And I explained how that resentment can show up in subtle ways through over control, emotional neglect, guilt tripping, or even open hostility. And in some cases, even becomes a lifelong battle for dominance where the mother feels the need to humble or compete with her son just to maintain power. And that broadcast showed that the emotional distance we see in many men didn't appear out of nowhere. It was taught, it modeled, and often inflicted. See, the truth is, you can't expect sons to grow up loving and trusting and protecting women if their first experience with womanhood was one of pain, manipulation, or rejection. So, when I say this isn't a new conversation, I mean that we've been doing the work for years over here on this page. We've been exposing the roots of generational trauma, not divided, not dividing men and women, but trying to heal both. But because the healing the black family means addressing both sides of the wound, the mothers who were hurt and passed down that hurt, and the sons who now are struggling to love the very reflection of what wounded them, we need to talk about it. Now, before we go any further, I need you to understand that this topic is trending right now on TikTok. This very topic, you now have black mothers coming out saying, "My son hates me." It is trending on TikTok. That's what I need you all to understand. That's why we're here today. And look, I'm about to play a few clips, real people, real voices from the conversations we've been talking about. And as you watch, I want you to pay attention to the common themes that keep resurfacing. You're going to hear about pain. You're going to hear about neglect. You're going to hear about emotional confusion. And you're going to hear about deep longing for love and accountability these boys didn't get from their mother. And these men and some women aren't just venting, they're testifying. They're confirming that what we've been analyzing here for 4 or 5 years isn't theory. It's lived experience. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cue this footage up. And again, this is a very serious topic, and I hope you all appreciate the work that I'm doing. Like I said, if you learn something, I should earn something. And the mere fact that we're talking about something that many of you brothers right now, I see you out there. That's why we got a lot of brothers in here. We got all my fellas from way back up in here. Shout out to Lucifer Ratzinger. Shout out to all my fellas out here, man, that's been here for years, man. But I want you all to check out what some of these ladies are saying. Here's one. Boom.
Yeah, when they say that black men really hate their mothers, I truly, truly, truly believe it. The
Mhm.
reason why these men have so much pent up anger and they lash out at every single thing that black women do is because they hate their mothers. And they can't get out, they
Fair
can't say
use.
what they want to say to their moms. So they take it out on, a random black woman that they don't even know from a can of paint. They can't tell their mama how they feel about them, you know? And they mad, you know,
Shout out
that
to
their
Cody
mom was
Marshall.
a single mother. You know, they mad that they don't know who their daddy is. They mad that their daddy not in their life, but they mad at their mama instead.
Sh-
Or whether their
Shout out
mamas
to the bad
treated
guy.
them bad when they was growing up as a kid.
Hmm.
You know, they mad about that fact. You know what I'm saying? If their mamas mistreated them or treated them poorly, they got anger issues. They got anger issues about that. You know, or if they didn't, or if their mama was fat and obese and stuff like that, they hated the fact that their mama was obese and stuff. So they talk stuff um BBWs and stuff like that.
Are you all listening to this? You see, the relationship that black men have with black women starts in the home. And, I'm happy that people are finally admitting this. Okay, we're going to let this sister continue to speak.
It is really sad how so many men hate their mothers. Like I truly, and it gets deeper than that because a lot of black men do have self hatred. They do. So they mad at their mama because like they want to say to their mama like, how dare you birth me? Like, why did you have my black ass?
I don't think that's it. I think now she's trying to find some defects in the men so she can begin to shift blame. Okay. But so it doesn't hurt so bad. But we'll let her continue speaking.
When I gotta put up with all this stuff being a black man, you know, they be so mad at their mamas, but they don't take it out on their mama because that's their mama. They not gonna take it out on their.
Yeah. And in fact, I think that she's projecting. I think she may have an issue with her mother, and she's telling her mother, or not telling her mother, but saying, "Why did you bring me in this world? I'm overweight. I'm a black woman. I have so much to deal with. I have a lot of self hate." I want you to, people will tell you who they are and you listen, but we'll let the sister finish speaking.
Mama. So we gotta, suffer, all this abuse from black men that we don't even know, from unhealed black men that we don't know. And a lot of these men are verbally and physically abusive towards black women.
Okay. So the truth is, a lot of black women are also abusive to black men and black boys and their black daughters and their black children. So let's keep that in mind too. So this is some projecting going on. Okay. But the truth of what she said in the beginning is just the truth. Again, this is painful for this sister to even say. And so we have to understand we just take the meat, spit out the bones. Okay, take the meat, spit out the bones. Let's keep listening.
And I believe that a lot of black BMs they probably do want to see a lot of black women out here hurt. It's very sad, and this even stems from childhood. I remember being in
Hmm.
elementary school with this one dude, and he hated women's guts. Well, we weren't women, but he couldn't stand girls. He used to always pick on the girls in the class. But he wasn't like that with his homeboys. But the girls, he bullied them, he picked on them. And now that I think about it, it's because he hated his mama. And I believe that his mama was a single mother, and he couldn't take that frustration out on his mother for not having his father in his life. So he took that out on women. He took that out on girls that ain't never did nothing to them. I think that a lot of y'all BMs, y'all need to seek therapy. Go talk to somebody.
Now, you know, I think the mothers need to seek therapy too. Okay, it's not just a one-way street. But again, we appreciate the honesty. You're only gonna get so much. You see what I'm saying? Let's keep listening to the sister
Or
speak.
something so you can get what you want to say off your chest instead of
Mhm.
taking that out on black women who you don't know, who have never even done nothing to you. Go get help. My parents were not perfect. My parents aren't perfect. You know what I'm saying? I had a wonderful dad. God bless his soul, who treated me like an absolute princess. And my mother wasn't perfect. She did a lot of things that I disagreed with. But
Dad treated her well, mom, quote unquote, wasn't perfect. So that lets you know that she herself has some. So this is a daughter that has issues with her mom. Okay. And I appreciate the honesty. Okay. Let's continue listening.
I don't hate her. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate her. And I will never take, I don't take, whatever I'm going through or what somebody did to me out on innocent people.
Yeah, but she's talking about she doesn't hate her. She had a great relationship with her dad, but she doesn't hate her mom. Okay, so it would be different if she was saying I had a great relationship with my mom and I had a bad relationship with my dad, and I don't take it out on black men. But again, I
Y'all
appreciate
need to heal.
her honesty, and
Please.
she's right about the healing if it can be accomplished. Okay, but the first thing that we want to do is we want to actually um, uh, listen. Listen to black women.
Woman. You seen that single woman struggle. You seen that single woman deal with fucked up niggas. And then just for you to wake up and be a fucked up nigga, it makes being a good mother has
Use the
its pros and
language.
cons. So
Family
you mean
friendly.
to tell me, because you know that I'm a good mother, you see certain qualities in me so that you can fall back and you don't have to be as responsible as me? I don't think so. That's not fair to me at all. But here we are today. People always playing in my face. Just because you're not doing the best that you can do, you can still help out in other ways, other aspects. Yeah. I swear I'm not meant for this generation. You mean to tell me you was raised by a single woman? You seen that single woman struggle. You seen that single woman deal with fucked up niggas. And then just for you to wake up and be a
Excuse the
fucked up
language,
nigga, it
everybody.
makes no sense. You didn't like how that shit made you feel as a child. So why would you wake up one day, decide to create a family, shit not going how you wanted to go in the work field or whatever, then you turn around and try to jump ship mentally. You might be there physically, but you might well be gone. You might as well be gone. If you're not there for your kids mentally or physically, like, you might as well be gone. It's the same shit. Like, it's the same thing. I don't understand. And the whole time we got mothers like me gotta pick up my slack, your folks slack, picking up everybody's slack. No, we can only take so much. We can only take so much. But I gotta take fault in it myself because I kept on allowing you to feed me this dream, right? I kept letting you feed me this dream. Beware women. They out here selling dreams, okay? When that representative get out the way, best believe you're gonna see who you relate down with, because that representative will stay around for years. When I tell you that man had his representative up for years, my dude, and then it's like, man,
To me is black.
I can tell you, like, in the chat room, there are a lot of black men that are even triggered listening to what's being said right here. But let's keep listening.
Men who hate black women, but they don't have a fucking dad. Like, how are you hating the one thing that has always rooted for you? Like, I used to be cool with this one homie, and he would hate on specifically black women any chance he got. Like, I remember one time we were talking about fucking basketball. Unasked, unprovoked, this nigga said, y'all know 3 out of 5 black women is obese? And we're like, nigga, what? What the fuck are you talking about? Nobody said shit about black women. Where did that come from? That's the type of hate he has for black women. And I remember another time, we're all hanging out. This nigga says, y'all know Michelle Obama used to be a man. And we're all like, nigga, what? What?
And so, what you hear the brother saying is, and he might not be articulating it as well, but he's saying all black women are obese. Maybe the young man he's referring to, mother's was obese. He's saying Michelle Obama's a man. Maybe his mother was masculine. That annoys him because his mother was masculine.
What the fuck are you talking about now? This nigga was even showing us pictures. Nigga talking about, look.
But you see how he's calling him the N-word and degrading him. So this is why black men can't really talk about it, not even with other black men, because there's no understanding. There's always blame shifting, you see. And so, brothers are reluctant to even speak on something like this. Again, it is taboo to speak ill of your mother, okay? Especially if she's a black woman.
Mind you, Michelle Obama looks just like his fucking, like doppelgangers
And
type shit.
that's the problem. He hit it. When he sees Michelle Obama, that young man that this gentleman is referring to sees Michelle Obama, he is reminded of his mother, okay? And you know, like I said, it's triggering. So imagine this man trying to date. Imagine this man trying to date a black woman, and she's doing some of the same things that his mother is doing. Okay, imagine that. How does that going to work? Okay, uh, let's take a look at a couple more videos. I want you guys to do this and hit the number one button if you can hear me clearly.
Of how black men
There you.
seem to hate black women, but why? What is going on? Why in the black?
Let me go ahead and play my music in the background because I don't want to get any copyright strikes. So I'm gonna let my music play in the background. Rock out to some Uncle B trap music. All right. All right, we'll let her play. Y'all ready?
We have so many black men come out and have made literal videos, countless numbers of videos, commenting about how much they cannot stand black women. But many of us will say to ourselves, well, weren't you born from a black woman? Why do you feel that way? But a lot of it is stemming.
Yeah, a lot of the brothers were born of black women. In Georgia, well, they were born of black women, and they feel that way because many of them have feelings towards their mothers that they can't express directly towards their mothers. So they take it out on other black women who remind them of some of the things that they saw their mother do. It's triggering. Okay, let's keep listening.
From the fact that they have an eternal hatred for their mother. They hate the fact that their mom was a single mom and hate the fact that their mom wasn't able to make it work with their father. Sometimes it's not even really taken into account of why did it not work between them, because it is two people.
Now, here's the thing. I actually have done some studies based on these videos, and I can tell you the frequency. I'm going to start with I'm going to talk about the top 10 reasons that black men don't like their mothers, and you're going to be shocked when you learn what they are. You will be shocked to learn what you know them, but the idea that you'll be shocked. Let's keep
Was
listening.
their father really a good man that they might feel or think deep inside was really the person that was outstanding in the relationship? Or did they feel like their mother was just always the one who was wrong and they place all the blame on her? Or is it simply because they're always around their mom, they never was really around their dad to really see the negatives of their dad? Most of the time, people never even grew up to even know their dad, so they might have created a fictionalized or romanticized view of what their father was like without.
All right, so what she's trying to do is blame the absent father for what the child had to go through with the present mother. Okay, so this is blame shifting. That's like, and if I flipped the script and I said, if a daughter is angry with her mother, you know, it must be the father's fault, even if she doesn't know who the father is and the mother doesn't know who the father is, or the father doesn't even know he has a child. So this is a way of shifting responsibility as opposed to accepting the fact that there is a need for change and therapy in hindsight. Let's keep listening.
Really understanding the dynamic, without really understanding the dynamic of a relationship and the fact that it takes two parties who are willing to work with each other in order for it to work. But since they're around their mom all the time, it's really easy to pick on her, or maybe she does have bad qualities. In the end, the point is that they have whatever reason to feel this hatred towards their mother, but they know that they can't disrespect their mom. They're not going to yell at their mom. They're not going to curse at their mom. They're not going to hit their mom. They're not going to abuse their mom.
That's not true.
All this frustration, anger, and
Let me tell you something. That's a fictitious dream these days, because I have some videos that I'll show you shortly where these young men are taking it out on their mom. You know, I remember doing a broadcast several years ago, and the young man said, you know, he was arguing with his mom in the front lawn. So this is not something that doesn't happen. It's looked down upon, but it is happening. Okay.
On their wives and on their girlfriends. And this is how it might manifest. First of all, they might have emotional detachment or avoidance. Some men, they struggle to express this vulnerability or affection because they were taught
so we've heard enough from this young lady. Let's move on to the next one.
Being strong all the time, so they feel like, oh well, if I act weak.
Secretly hate their mama.
Okay, so y'all go back and watch his video in its entirety. So I have been saying this ever since the beef between black men and black women, relationships, who bring what to the table, dating, podcasts, social media platforms where all these men and women are going back and forth talking shit about each other. I have been saying when it comes to the male side of all this fuckery that these niggas hate their mama. I've been saying this shit, like loud and proud, for real. Been saying this shit. And it might not just be the mama now. It could be whatever female figure that raised them or had a hand in raising them. Whether it could have been the grandmother or the cousin, the auntie, or even the daddy's wife.
True.
Could have had a hand in the reason why some of these men act the way they do. And like he said in his video, a lot of them are mad because they daddies walked away from their mama and they feel like their mama chased them away. And you can just tell by a lot of how these men are so sassy and they so aggressive.
So here's the thing. You notice how they always try to degrade the male. He's sassy, he's aggressive, these sort. I want you all to listen. You know, this is a very uncomfortable truth for a lot of women to have to deal with. And so that's why this is never really something that folk want to address. But when they do address it, guess what they do? They try to shift the blame. Let's keep listening.
And they so
or humiliate
defensive and they so just feminine that their daddies was not around.
Okay, so I'm going to go to there was a video of a gentleman that we all know. When the question is, why are these men so feminine or whatever issues? Listen to this. You might remember this gentleman.
Masculine back then than they are now?
Men worldwide were more masculine because we didn't have feminism. But see, the problem is black women, your mother's generation and your grandmother's generation, they really failed you guys because they told you didn't need a man. Who raised these feminine, weak black men?
Who raised them, right? That's never a question. Who raised them?
That you have a problem with. Who raised them? Who raised them? 80% of black children are born out of wedlock. Who raised them? Who?
We did.
Who's we?
My mom or whoever my grandparents did.
Black who?
Women.
Thank you. That's who raised them. You raised the very men you have a problem with. Black men are 51% childless, 64% in the middle class. And the problem keeps being that, well, the black men back there were stronger. Back then we had more of the law on our side. And we actually had more of a community. What happened, if you want the truth, was when the Great Society came in and black women were given a choice between government assistance and your men, black women chose government assistance. As black male unemployment went down, black female welfare enrollment went up.
All right, shout out to the late, great Kevin Samuels. A lot of people didn't like what he had to say, but he's saying, and then what we'll do is we'll listen to hear what some of the brothers have to say about this. Check this out. Fair use.
Why your kid is angry. Number one, you're angry. 2 reasons why your kid's a crash out. Number one, you're a crash out. This is what they see modeled in front of them every single day. What they see is exactly what they'll become. Second reason is because there's something underlying, slipped under the radar, and hasn't been given proper attention. A lot of times kids that are angry are actually sad, especially young black boys. They're actually really, really sad. They've experienced trauma, they've lost a loved one, and they've never had a safe place to decompress. They've never been protected. They were taught to protect themselves. And how can you put a soldier on a battlefield who's never been through basic training? Childhood is an apprenticeship to adulthood. If they haven't learned, don't expect it from them. Teach them. But this will require you to get equipped first. That's why I said there's 2 reasons. When I got this book, I got it thinking it was going to help me in my parenthood journey, and it did. But really, it helped me more. Truthfully, as parents, especially dads, we cannot pour into our sons what's not already in us. You are emotionally unstable, and you got to be real with yourself, bro. You got to be real with yourself. If you know you struggle in that area, get the help you need. Your son's future depends on it, my friend.
Again, family, all of this is trending on TikTok. Here we are supposed to be resting. And as we rest, this is the conversation that is trending. Okay. Now, earlier you had a young lady say, black men refuse to disrespect their mom. Listen to this.
Ma'am, I feel like you need to calm down.
No. We can take this outside because that's how I was raised. So if you want to talk about how I was raised, we can go. And how my mama helped.
Ma'am, this is Malachi's word.
No, come on, let's go.
So now she wants to fight her son because she perceives what he's saying is disrespectful. Okay. So let's keep listening. And you guys, look, I know this is uncomfortable, but I'm laying the foundation. This is something I talked about years ago. Right. This is a conversation that I brought up years ago. Right. And there's some videos out there that are worse than this, but here we are today.
Imagine a nerdy black boy. He goes to school. All the black girls call him Four Eyes, Norbit, Steve Urkel. Brooklyn call him lame, ugly. Ayana give him a fake number. Kiara tell him get your weight up. He asks Arcuria out to prom, and she just fucking walk off in front of everybody. And then the only thing he got waiting for him at home is a disrespectful bitch who want to take her anger out on him because she can't keep no man. Why?
Now, look, I know the language is harsh and I know it's hard to listen to, okay? But until we actually hear people speak and, without holding back, then we're not going to do any healing. And again, we are resting and that's great, but the resting is time to do the work. It makes no sense to rest for what? Just to come right back? We need to rest and repair, okay? Somebody type rest and repair in the chat room. We need to rest and repair. Makes no sense to rest unless we're also repairing so we can come back better than before. Listen to the brother.
Because her daddy touched her at a young age. Now that he's an adult and he say he don't date black women, isn't your mom black? Isn't your mom black? Isn't your mom black? Or he hate his mom. Like, yes, it's 2025.
Yeah.
I don't know why y'all can't get it by now.
Yeah, he hates his mom. Like this was something that people were ashamed to say 5 years ago. But this is what we're dealing with. This is the reality. You see why we have. So behind the gender war are these things that folk really don't want to actually deal with. Okay. Now again, black women are dealing with the same thing. You got a lot of black women who have.
Seen this? Watch this video right now.
Yeah.
Are you gonna?
Mom might be a little jealous because the daughter is young and good looking. You see what I mean? Look.
What the fuck I'ma hit you for, Samaya?
Look how she's talking to her. You see? Look how she's talking to her.
I don't got no beef with you. Your beef is with me.
I don't even talk to you. What are you talking about?
You see? Now this is the daughter. How is this little girl gonna grow up?
I don't even talk to you. What are you talking about?
I called you to make sure that you had a ride to work. I don't have to give a damn about you getting to work, Samaya.
No, you didn't. You told me that I had to pay you to get to work, and
I said, do you have some money? Because I don't have none. And then I said, Bug, I got $10. But what I'm trying to tell you for next time is that you can't depend on me to pay my money and my gas to get you to and from work. That's not my responsibility.
Now some of you all are saying, well, we understand mom's point. She's just trying to teach her daughter a lesson. But, it's not all the time what you say, is how you say it. You see? It's like if you present somebody some food and you just throw it on a plate and it looks like pig slop, you can't be upset with them if they don't want to digest it. Same thing with yelling and screaming and disrespecting someone in the name of, correcting them, right? So again, what we're talking about is why he hates his black mother, okay? But again, this is not something that is just unique to men or black men. There are a lot of black women out there who have issues with their mother because they receive some of this same treatment. And because it's never been addressed, it's now generational. And as we rest, we need to work on breaking these cycles. Okay,
You see women talk about how a lot of males out here are
males.
mad at their mothers and taking their anger towards their mothers out on the women who they date. But I would argue that a lot of these dudes ain't even mad at their mamas for real. Like, yes, there are mothers out here who were terrible parents and deserve all of their frustration. But specifically, the men who blame their mothers for their dad walking out on the family, I would hasten to bet that a lot of those men are actually mad at their dads, but because of misogyny and bro code, they're
Misogyny and bro code. So she's saying that these little boys who've been disrespected and berated by their mothers, and they watch their mother do things that they're not proud of and conduct herself, what their mother does. Oh no, ignore that. That's not what's making these boys upset or hate their mother. And hate is a strong word. Oh, they're actually mad at their fathers. Again, we're redirecting responsibility from the present mother who was there conducting the activities and dealing with the child to the absent father who may not even know he was a father. Okay, this is accountability, and until we actually are able to force these ladies to look in the mirror and listen to their sons, there will be no accountability. All right, let's continue
they're
listening.
taking their frustration towards their dad out on their mothers. It's so unfortunate how misogyny will hold men back from their
It's
own emotional.
misogyny. So you're saying children, these little boys, they're not angry because of the abuse that they suffered or because their mother had a bunch of men coming in and out the house or because their mother would use them for money or finance. Oh no, that's not where they're upset. They're really upset at their dad. That's what it is. And again, this is unfortunate. Okay.
And mental healing, because instead of holding your father accountable for his actions that he did alone, you would
Mhm.
rather figure out a way to rationalize his behaviors by blaming the woman in the equation. For a lot of
So the thing is, in the black community, I'm going to propose a question. When have we not held black fathers responsible in the black community? What decade in our existence here, when have we not held black men responsible? I would challenge you all that black men are even held responsible for things that aren't even anything they had to do with. If a black man finds out that a child who he's been taking care of for several months or several years is not his biological child, shout out to Black Sam, and he decides to cut ties with the mother and the child, he's blamed for that. You see, and that's something that he's not even responsible for. I want you all to understand that. So I would challenge this young lady and I would say, there's never been a time in recent history where black men were not held responsible as fathers, even when they're not fathers. Some of you men often you hear, well, what are you all doing for the community? What that translates to is there are a lot of children out here. 80% of women are having children out of wedlock. You need to go and help out in the community. Now, there's nothing wrong with helping out. I contribute to different organizations. Uh, I gave some money to a youth football team with 10-year-olds. And my son was telling me one day, the coach, I guess they were having some issues with the boys. And he said, how many of you all live at home with your mother? And about most of them raised their hand. This is my son said. He said, most of them raised their hand. And then I said, how many live home who have a daddy? Only a couple raised their hand. Okay. And and I know why the coach did it, but it's basically because there's a difference between boys raised by their daddy and boys raised by their mother normally, especially when it comes to command and control and following instructions and whatnot. But so it's very difficult to hold someone accountable when they're squirmy like this. You see what I'm saying? It's hard to do it because they keep moving. Uh, um, you know, they refuse to accept responsibility. So how do you teach them anything? They don't feel.
Secretly
Saw this one already. Let's keep going to the next one. You guys, shout out to A Quiet Faith. Thank you so much. Again, I appreciate everybody. being here, and I appreciate the super chats and the cash apps. We're going to continue talking about this. Hit the number 1 button if you can hear.
I speak for all women in Mississippi when I say this. Y'all always so busy trying to down talk the woman you with, down talk the woman you spend every waking minute with. Y'all be so quick to count her flaws and every quality that you claim you want in that person. Your mama has neither quality. I'm speaking about past relationship experiences overall in general. That man ain't mad with you. That man mad at his mama. And until he fixes issues with his mama, he gonna forever try and belittle you, humiliate you, upset you. Well, we gotta understand his mama was his first experience, not you.
She's telling the truth.
Did you hear me what I said? His mama was his very first experience.
I mean, look, it's amazing that you got women now just realizing, but this is what black men have been saying for years. You see, again, on this channel alone, we've talked about it. You all who follow me and have moved on with me from Facebook for the past 10, 12 years, this is something that continued to come up. It's a reoccurring theme. Issues with their black mothers. You want to know why you have black men dating out? Issues with their mothers. Some of these black men, unfortunately, they are triggered by black women. You see, at least black American women, because it's the same culture. And so I'm glad it's finally. This is trending on TikTok.
If you're a mama out there and you feel like you're being attacked, okay, not my intentions. I'm speaking about situations that can help young women coming up under me to not make a mistake, to deal with these men who purposely like to pit his woman and his mama against each other so he can do what it is he trying to do, which is manipulate, lie.
There's the blame shifting.
And whatever else he think he gonna
more blame shifting. Let's go back. Let's listen to some more. Listen to this.
I know, but I ain't having it.
Fair use.
There's too many demons inside I got to battle with.
Fair use.
So fuck whoever tries to play devil's advocate, because y'all don't understand how real this is. Nigga, I was just a kid. 5 years old.
TikTok.
I could look my mama in the eyes, half sleep, half high. You wonder why I'm outside, pistol in my pocket, throwing up gang signs? It's because you a junkie, mama. Now, how you gonna demand respect? I guess you beat me because I look like the man that left. I spin an image of my daddy, huh? That's why you slapped me? Can nothing please you? You ain't never happy. I'm talking straight A's on report cards. Getting ripped. Christmas, birthdays, I ain't get shit. Every man I see you with call you bitch. This is what I deal with. This is what I'm dealing with. You feel me? Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. So it feels like God cursed me and my brothers. Because all I do is suffer. And the pain came from my mother. Say a rose won't grow from this concrete. Tupac, you tripping. Because the root's getting pulled out. The pedals getting stepped on. You came home high. Beat me half to death. You said that I slept wrong. But it's bloody tampons, empty bottles of liquor, cracked valves on the same bed I slept on. How the fuck could I sleep wrong? You got me laying on a bed I could barely even sleep on.
I mean, and that young brother speaks for so many other young black men. So are we still going to ignore this, brothers? Are we going to continue to ignore, ladies? Are we going to continue to ignore this? That's the question we have to ask. Is this something that we're ready to deal with?
Right. Hey, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great day. I kind of have a rant in regards to something that I experienced yesterday. So let me just start off by saying I am, as you can see, an African-American woman. So this message is directed a little bit towards more African-American women. But if you are a single mom with a boy, then this message might be for you as well. So I'll start off by saying I am a single mom to a girl. So, of course, I'm raising my daughter to be, I call her my princess, but I am raising her to be a queen. I hold myself up to a certain standard, so I'm going to raise my child to be that. But one thing I have to prepare my daughter for is for boys that are in her age group, her peers, right? And with that in mind, I have to prepare her for, of course, boys that are being raised to a certain standard and young boys that are not.
I was having a great morning until I had to remove myself from the family group chat. Meaning me and my children group chat. So me and my children was in a family group chat.
How do I won't even say that it's about being racism. It's just I like to expand my world. I like to know about other cultures because I feel like that's how we learn from other people, right? And
you know what
obviously
I'm
my daughter
saying,
did the
he
same way. So
grew
one
up
of her
without a
girlfriends, she
dad,
posted
you
her
know what I'm
best friend
saying,
there
and
from
he
Bangladesh. So we
had the
set up a play
experience
date. We took our
seeing
kids
you
to a
with
kids
so many
museum.
different
We had a
guys
great
and
time. Now in that museum, you
hearing
know,
you
there are other
get
kids. We had no
fucked.
issues. There
I'm
was a
sure
miniature break room.
y'all
We
don't
decided we wanted to
understand
go
the
in there. It was a
trauma
place where we could sit
of
quietly and talk. And
a
our daughters
son
wanted a
hearing his
break, so they
mama
got to
get
play with like
nailed.
puzzle pieces and books. Of course, other
Hey,
people could come
I
in, but it was a very
mean,
small room, so it was just weird
I've
how the
experienced
dynamic
that.
and the
I'll
energy
never
changed
forget it.
real quick.
You know what I'm
Two
saying?
young boys come in there without their
Good
moms
morning,
and
TikTok
kind of
family.
sort of like, I won't say
So
attacking my daughter and her friend, but like grabbing stuff from them and taking stuff.
I'm
And,
finally
you know,
changed
finally the mom
medical
comes in
children. I had
and
to
she saw
accept the
everything
fact
because she was
that
right there looking at us while it happened. And
my
the
oldest son
door, the
hates
walls are
me.
glass, shall we say. So it's a door to walk in, but the room is very much
I see
open
this
space for other
trend
young people.
all the time
She comes in,
where
you could tell like
parents are
nervously, like,
talking
hi
about
you
why
guys. And the
their
energy was probably
toddlers,
off because we're
2
like,
and 3 year
why are
old,
you letting your kids come here? You clearly see your children are doing things that are inappropriate to other kids. Anyway, I want to kind of note something that I've seen, and this isn't to judge, but this is to just kind of make a very broad statement. I want to say I can see why black men do not respect black women.
I apologize for that. I was queuing up some other videos. You guys are saying that the audio was there was some dual audio. I've worked on that. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Shout out to all the ICE lords. I'll let this video continue.
And I'm going to hold the mothers accountable. And this first comes down to emotional intelligence. It comes down to teaching your children from right from wrong. And why I speak on that is, I'm going to jump in other examples, but I'm going to start with what I saw yesterday. So yesterday when the lady comes in with the boys, she saw her son walk on my daughter and her friend, like literally step on them. There was no excuse me, there was no sorry, there was no nothing. And so instead she like grabs him up and she's just like yelling at him and just saying things that I feel like you shouldn't say to your child. Now I'm going to say this, you know, a lot of people are in the whole feminine energy and masculine energy. I'm going to broadly speak on maybe this was her. I feel like she's definitely in her masculine energy because there was no nurturing there. And I feel like at the end of it, she took no accountability for her son to even make him apologize. So I want to say, mothers, why are you not teaching your sons how to be gentlemen? And when it comes to the masculine energy, listen.
How can a woman teach her son how to be a gentleman? She's not a gentleman. That's not something that she can do. You know, maybe she can find someone to do that, but it starts in the home. But let's keep listening to the sister speak.
Women, you cannot teach your son how to be a man. You can't. And I understand that it is hard being in a single parent household where the dad is probably not there all the time. And I'm able to speak on that because I have other girlfriends with sons where their father is involved in their life, but they're not in the household to be able to dictate that boy's actions all the time. And I see it where mothers get, you know, flustered and they get frustrated because they're like, I don't know how to really get to him. But as soon as the father speaks to him or says something to him, that boy is in check. To let you know, women, that you cannot teach him how to be a man. That is when you're going to have to put your pride in your ego, get yourself involved in different groups. There are mentor groups out there where grown men will take in young boys and teach them. Now, you got to be careful.
Now, the thing is, family, now see, now what she's saying is, oh, well, you can you're a good father, you know, everything but send this boy to be with his dad. Now, again, some things are out of some people's control. You know, fathers are not available. Some men may have passed away. Some men may be in the military. Some men may have died. There's a lot of different reasons, but the bottom line is, if a man is available, then you know it should be it should be the father. If the father is available, then we definitely want to do that. Now, I'm gonna let you get some more videos in, and then we're gonna go ahead and proceed forward with what we're doing here today. Some more hard-hitting videos from some sisters that are confessing. I mean, they are really letting it out. Now, you guys hit the number 1 button if you can hear this clearly. I just pull these videos up. Hit the number 1 button.
I remove myself from the family group chat, meaning me and my children group chat. So me and my children was in a family group
My
chat because
children.
I joke and play with my children all day. My son had asked me, could I put a car in my name for him as long as he got the money? Now him and Juicy J was going back and forth because that's what they do, they siblings. But I told him no, because every time I talk to him about being responsible, taking accountability, it goes left. And now I hate him because of his father.
Again, it's not unreasonable for her to say, hey, you know, you got to take accountability. Why does he respond that way to you? You see, you have to ask yourself, why is it that why is my son responding to me with such vitriol like he hates me? You see, and then you got to go back into the relationship. And somebody in the chat room said that young man had a horrible childhood. And see, moms never account for that. You see, they basically, I mean, who wants to think about that, you know? But let's keep listening.
Well, how come I don't hate the girls then? Because of the same man. My son got so disrespectful because he know I'm far away from him right now. Because if I was down the street, I probably would have pulled up. I'm the parent that always hold my son accountable for everything.
You'd have pulled up and what? Use violence, right? Is that how you dealt with him in the past? If so, then that's why you have the relationship that you have. And unfortunately, for us and everybody, we all have to deal with those people. You see, and this is the cycle. This is the generational cycle. So as we rest, it's time to repair. Let's move on to the next video. You guys hit the #1 button. Here's another sister speaking, her experience.
I'm gonna need y'all to help me understand why my son hate me. Okay? Like, I bathe you. I clothe you. I change your little shitty ass diapers. You have shirted on me on more than one occasion, and my love never went nowhere. It never went nowhere.
And see, mom is you maintain this child. Okay, that's what you're saying. You bathe them, you raise them, you paid for them, you provided a home for them. But that's mothering, okay? And in some regard, that's parenting. But he's not judging you for that, okay? He's judging you for other things. Those things that you did for him, you did them because that child did not ask to be here. You as a parent have an obligation to that child, just like he'll have an obligation to his child, mom. Okay, you need to understand that. Let's keep listening.
But even after all of that, right? He decides that he wants to stop, completely stop my heart from beating twice in 24 hours. And I'm trying to understand why. Why don't you like me? What did I do?
He wants to stop her heart from beating. I hope she's not saying what I think she's saying. That sounds like unalignment. I thought she was going to say something like he stopped talking to me, or he ghosted me, or he doesn't want to have anything to do with me. Let's keep listening.
What did I do? I don't. Let me just tell you. Okay, so yesterday, the little MFO ran head first into the corner of the counter. That wasn't good enough. That wasn't good enough.
And now she's trying to make it seem like he has issues. Just like who? Just like his daddy. You see what I'm saying?
And decided less than 24 hours later that he was gonna fall down the fucking stairs.
Okay.
Bruised his little face all up in here. He got a gash from the fucking counter right here. And it's like, dog, why?
All right. I don't know where she's going with that, but I don't know. Let's go back to some more videos. Y'all hit the #1 button.
Understand why my son hate me.
Man, maybe it's because, you know what I'm saying, he grew up without a dad, you know what I'm saying, and he had the experience seeing you with so many different guys and hearing you get fucked. I'm sure y'all don't understand the trauma of a son hearing his mama getting nailed. Hey, I mean, I've experienced that. I'll never forget it.
Brothers in the chat room, I'm going to ask you a very serious question. Brothers in the chat room who grew up with single mothers. Brothers in the chat room who grew up with single mothers. This brother is saying it was traumatic hearing their mother get banged by some man that wasn't their dad when they were young. How many of you brothers, and a lot of you all, I expect you to be honest, how many of you all, number one, heard your mother getting banged as a child and it was traumatic? It's distasteful to say, but it was traumatic. If it was traumatic, then I want you to type T for traumatic, okay? T for traumatic. Or if you knew your mother was getting banged by somebody and it was traumatic to you, it affected you, it made you think less of her, right? Let's listen.
You know what I'm saying? I've never forgot it. You feel me? So just imagine growing up and your mom out here bringing guys home. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes she's staying away. You know, when you get older, you know, you get to realizing like, damn, you know what I'm saying? What the fuck? Motherfuckers bogus as hell. You feel me? Like just imagine single mom, son home, Johnny come over and he cracking the shit out your mom and your mom loud as hell, but yet your son ain't gotta, you know, he can't say nothing about it because she the grown person in the room. But yeah, maybe it's that. I don't know if y'all think about that, but some of y'all probably ain't never experienced that, but I have and I never forgot it. So yeah, maybe it's that.
Yeah, this young man that brother is speaking from personal experience. Okay. Now again, I know you all don't want to. This is not a conversation that's comfortable for people, but this is the conversation that's trending on TikTok right now, as we are dealing with Donald Trump and ICE and all of these different things. This is what black people chose to talk about. There's 40 or 50 videos of black men talking about, or black women saying that my son hates me. Okay, and TikTok is a young people's uh, channel. You see, that's the 20s and to the 40s. Okay, Facebook is for the 50 up club. And okay, so I want you to understand that. Let's keep listening.
I finally came to the conclusion and had to accept the fact that my oldest son hates me. And I can't be mad at him for it because it's my own fault. And he told me, he said, well, mommy, I just felt like you didn't want me around. And I know I pulled away from you, but and y'all, it broke me because I never meant to make him feel that way. I never meant to make him feel that way. But he would do stuff and it would make me so mad. Because y'all, he's the second child. So anybody that got at least 2 children, y'all know what I mean. Because that second one, when I say they try you, they try you. But I would react before I would think. And so now he hates me. But to any parent out there,
I got 3 sons and I don't have this experience. Okay, because my sons know daddy is not the one to try. Okay. But as far as a single mother, you're going to have those issues because you're dealing with boys, especially. and they will test you because you're a woman. But let's keep listening to the sister speak.
Do not react before you think. Do not react before you done sat down and calm down. Because you don't want to go through this same thing that I'm going through right now.
Her son hates her. Okay? How painful is that? Her son hates her and she knows it. Okay? And he's expressed that to her. This is what this woman is dealing with. And look, shout out to all the women, all the black women on TikTok who are brave enough to admit it so that we can have an opportunity to actually sit up and and dissect this. Okay? Let's keep listening.
When I say I can feel that hate coming off of him for me. Oh, I can feel that hate. And it hurts because I turned into my mama. And I always said I would never be like her.
She turned, you hear what she said? She turned into her mama. So now we're talking about generational issues, and she's passing that down to her sons and her daughters. Listen to what she's saying. This is good stuff. We're learning here.
And y'all, my mama hated me.
My mama hated me.
And she made me feel unloved and unwanted. And to think I turned around and did that to my son. Y'all, it hurts. It hurts. So, to all my parents, please think before you react. Think and remember, at some point, you were your child's age. At some point, you were a child yourself. So don't lose your child like I'm losing mine. And y'all, I don't make him talk to me. I don't make him do nothing because I know I already pushed him away.
She already pushed him away.
And I don't want to make it worse.
It's not. Now she's not disciplining him at all because she doesn't want it to get worse, and that's not going to make it any better. So she basically says, I'm going to just stop parenting him because he hates me, and maybe that'll make him like me again. And that is the opposite of what being a parent is. Okay, but I'm gonna let the sister finish, and then we're gonna get to work.
And I don't want him detached from the world and make things worse. So, y'all think, calm down before you react.
All right.
Don't end up like this.
All right, baby girl. All right. I appreciate that. Shout out to all the content creators and the folks who put those videos up, and we are going to learn. We are here today. This is a healing mission that we're on. Okay. We're here to heal today. All right. And so, now that you've seen and heard those clips, the patterns are impossible to ignore. Different men, different cities, different upbringings, yet they're all describing the same emotional injuries, the same kinds of dysfunction. And what we're going to do now is break down clearly. Okay. What I'm saying is I'm going to give you the top 10 reasons. You're going to learn something tonight. And if you learn something, I expect to earn something because nobody else has done this. The top 10 reasons black men say they hate or don't like their mothers. And that's based on the extensive research that I've done over the years, and then also doing videos. There's nobody else is going to give you this information. And if a light bulb goes on, and if you feel like you've been heard, if this is you, just type yes, H, I'm being heard in the chat room. I am being heard. Okay, because this is how we start. And again, this is how we start the healing process. This is not about blame. Okay, it's about understanding where the pain starts and how it spreads and what it's costing us as a community. Because as it is right now, a lot of black men and women don't get along, and but for these external forces pushing us together, and we got all these white folk, our white allies don't like us anymore, all that, and all this racial, we're forced to come back together. But that still does not remedy the problem. Now, here's the thing: what's really being expressed right now, the men and some of the women, okay, in the videos, they're not just talking about hate, they're expressing grief, betrayal, unresolved trauma. And most of their stories share a common root. They never felt safe, respected, or emotionally seen by their mother, who's supposed to love them unconditionally. Hate in this context, it masks a deep longing for what they should have received: protection, warmth, and honesty, but they didn't. And we're also we hear an expression of generational pattern. Much of this pain is intergenerational. Many of these mothers were raised in similar environments, harsh, fatherless, survival-based households where vulnerability was punished. They passed down emotional hardness as a survival tool, not realizing they were teaching their children how not to love. And that's why the generational trauma is something that keeps popping up. The dysfunction isn't new, it's inherited. All right. Now, regarding the emotional survival and gender roles, for many black families and others living under similar social pressures, mothers have historically been forced to be both, or should I say, they've been forced to play both of the traditional parental roles. They got to be the protector and the provider, and they have to be the nurturer. And that process, a mom is going to become emotionally unavailable or controlling, or she mistakes toughness for strength. And the men in these videos are pushing back against that. They're saying, you raised me to survive, but not to feel. Now, the particular wound between black men and their black mothers is unique, okay? And there's a specific cultural layer here that I want to address, and I hit it a little earlier. Black men often grow up deeply attached to their mothers, but rarely allowed to question them. Most of you brothers right now, you can't go up and ask your mothers no questions. Who you think you talking to would be the response. And when brothers finally do, the anger that surfaces is massive, not because they simply hate women, but because they're breaking a taboo. And that's been protected for generations. There's grieving on both the loss of maternal love and the myth of the perfect black mother. And what those videos and those testimonials say about the potential for healing is interesting, okay? Because see, there's a pattern that we've outlined. Promiscuity, that was an issue. Emotional abuse, neglect, lack of accountability, all point to a cycle of unhealed trauma, okay? Now, it's time to have this honest dialogue, okay? Now, my overall conclusion is that these videos don't just voice a list of grievances. It's a mirror held up to cultural pain. I talk about the culture all the time. All right. And this is one aspect of the culture that we need to deal with. Right. You appreciate what I'm doing. You like what I'm doing. Well, you got to take this too. It's not just about me, jumping down the necks of these tethers for disrespecting us. It's not just about me calling Latinos and Asians out for anti-black racism. It's not about me, calling these white supremacists out for what they're doing. That's not it. Okay, we have got to begin to heal ourselves. Okay, and see, these are some long-term cost of broken family structures: emotional neglect, lack of safe spaces for men to speak truth about their childhoods. It's uncomfortable, but it's also necessary. Shout out to Solo Dolo. And every generation that finally speaks the truth, no matter how harsh it sounds, is one step closer to ending the silence that created it. Now, let me explain something to y'all. Let's start with the number one reason. What's the number one reason Black men hate their mothers. The number one reason that it occurred 157 mentions. There's 157 mentions. It's the number one reason that black men hate their mothers. Promiscuity, which they see as poor role modeling. It came up more than anything else, 157 times. That's not a coincidence, that's a pattern. What do I mean by that? Introducing multiple men into the home, exposing their sons to sexual immortality or chaos, creating unstable and dangerous environments through poor choices in men that they bring in the house, normalizing disrespectful treatment of men. In other words, they see their mother being called out her name and getting treated like a 304. This came up the most often. These men hated seeing their mothers bringing in different men and bringing different men around. They hated it. They saw that as it's the type of behavior that makes the home unstable because you got all these men around. They hated when they saw their mothers cheating. They felt embarrassed or unsafe because their mom's romantic or sexual choices caused chaos and fights or trauma in the family. These men grew up watching their mothers bring different men in and out of the house, sometimes weekly, sometimes daily. And to a child, especially a son, that creates confusion, embarrassment, and deep emotional instability. Your mother's a whore. Your mother's a hoe. This is what you got to see. How can you have respect for womanhood and your mother's a whore, a hoe? Excuse the language, but just be honest. You had one man said, I never knew who was going to be in the kitchen in the morning. My mama called every man uncle, okay, but none of them acted like one. That's not love, that's chaos. And many of these men talked about how their homes stopped feeling like homes and started feeling like a revolving door, where affection, attention, and even protection depended on which man was there that week. Some of these boys said they slept with a knife under the pillow because they didn't trust their mother's boyfriends. Think about that. Others said they learned early on that love was dangerous, that when mom was in love, they had to walk on eggshells. They also talked about being exposed to sexual immortality and dysfunction too early. One man said his mother would bring her boyfriends over while he was still awake, blasting music, having sex loudly down the hall. Another said my mama let her boyfriend walking around the house half naked. I was 13. That's when I stopped respecting her. You guys remember a movie that came back way in the 90s called Baby Boy? And mom had Melvin was walking fresh out of prison, had him walking around making a sandwich in the kitchen. That was real life for a lot of black men. You don't know who this man is. He just in your mama's kitchen cooking after having sex with her. You see? You hear it over and over. Not because these sons are prudish, but because they were forced to grow up before their time. And then there's the issue of an unstable, dangerous environment. You know, the statistics show that the most dangerous person, the dangerous place for a child is with her mother's new boyfriend. That's the most dangerous place. Look at the statistics. The most dangerous, boys and girls, the most dangerous place for a child is with the new man. Several men said their mother's boyfriends or partners was abusive, not just to them, but to her. They watched their moms get beaten and cursed at or thrown out of cars, and as children, they were powerless to stop it. And that powerlessness turns into resentment because the son's instinct is to protect his mama. But what happens when she keeps choosing men he has to protect her from? These sons also spoke about the disrespect and the hypocrisy. They said that mothers would criticize all men as dogs while sleeping with men who treated them like trash. And one man said, my mama told me to respect women, but she never respected herself. And that line sums it up. It's not just about what they saw. It's about what they learned. It's not just about what she said. It's about what they witnessed. They grew up seeing broken examples of womanhood and love, and it warped their understanding of both. And that's why this category stood up above all. This wasn't just about sex. It was about instability, betrayal, and loss of safety in the one place that should have been sacred, home. When your mother's choices make you feel unsafe, unprotected, or ashamed, that wound doesn't heal easily. It festers. And for many of these men, that wound grew into what they now call hate. But what it really is heartbreak. So that's the number one reason, promiscuousness. That's why your son hates you, ladies. Because he sees you as a 304. Now, the next one. The second most common reason that these men said that they hate their mothers was emotional and psychological abuse. This was mentioned 63 times, and I want you to keep in mind the first one was mentioned 152 times. Okay, let me just so you know, promiscuity and poor role model 157 times. So, ladies, if you listening to this, if you don't want your son to hate you, don't let him inherit the image based on your actions and what you do that you're a whore or a 304. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, what's next? Emotional and psychological abuse. We can guess that. Second most common men said they hate their mothers. A lot of people said their mothers constantly yelled and insulted and manipulated and belittled them. They described growing up feeling unloved, unwanted, emotionally controlled, like their mother's anger or moods ran the whole house. If mama had a bad day, everybody's having a bad day. She insulted them, she belittled them, she humiliated her sons, probably emasculated them. There's probably a lot of men in this chat room right now that say their mothers used to call them bitches or bitch ass niggas. Excuse the language. That's emasculate. Punks, they would probably call them all those names. I'm just telling you. That's humiliation. Constant yelling, name calling, the criticism. This is what black men are saying. Manipulation through guilt or emotional blackmail, gaslighting or denying hurtful behavior. They would use their children as emotional punching bags. She had a bad day with somebody. And so she'll come home and beat up her kids, boys and girls. And then they made their sons feel unwanted or inadequate or worthless. And they weaponized affection. They gave love only when it was convenient or useful. Now, when you hear the word abuse, people usually think about something physical like bruises, punches, and beatings. And that happened too, and that's on the list. But it is far down the list, okay? Because the truth is emotional and psychological hurts a lot longer and last a lot longer than physical, okay? But what you see these men describing wasn't always about what their mothers did with their hands. It was what they did with their words that tore into their self-worth, words that made them feel like nothing they ever did would be good enough. And many said their mothers were verbally cruel, calling them stupid, worthless, just like your no good daddy or some variation thereof. One man said, my mama never hit me, but she made me feel like I should have never been born. How many of you women have told your sons, or how many of you all have heard from your mother, I wish I never had you, or something like that, or she expressed regret about having you? You see, that's psychological abuse. That is not being honest, and that is not discipline. That is emotional warfare. And when it comes from your own mother, it cuts deeper than anything a stranger could say. Others describe mothers who are controlling or manipulative or emotionally unpredictable. The moment loving, this moment, the next moment venomous. One man said, I never knew which version of my mama I was going to get. She hugged me in the morning and then cussed me out before dinner. And that kind of instability teaches a child that love isn't safe, that affection always comes with a price. See, there's stories about moms even weaponizing guilt and shame. They tell their sons, after all I've done for you, like that lady said, hey, I changed your diapers, I fed you, I changed your shitty diapers, right? And this is how you treat me. Or you owe me everything. I sacrificed my whole life for you. And the words sound noble on the surface, but what they really communicate is control. They don't inspire gratitude. They create an emotional debt. And many of these men grew up feeling like they could never repay it. And some said their mothers would humiliate them in public. We've seen that, call them names in front of their friends, or airing private issues at the church or the grocery store or at their school, or mocking them when they cried. A man said, I stopped crying when I was 8, not because I got tougher, but because she laughed when I did, or she called me a punk. That's not strength. That's trauma disguised as maturity. And see, then there's a psychological manipulation. Mothers who play their sons against siblings or use them as pawns in fights with fathers or boyfriends. You all have seen that. They created environments where love was conditional, where approval had to be earned through obedience, silence, or emotional submission. There was a man that said, if I didn't agree with her, she cut me off for weeks. I learned early that my feelings didn't matter. And a lot of women deal with that now. Women do that to each other all the time. And this is what makes emotional abuse so damaging. It doesn't leave visible scars, but it rewires how a man sees himself. And when your mother constantly belittles or manipulates you, you start to internalize that voice. It becomes the voice in your head. You see? You grow up fighting battles you didn't even start, battles against the echoes of your mother's words. That's why this was the second most common reason, because for so many, these men, the damage wasn't physical, it was internal, psychological, and was spiritual. They didn't just lose faith in their mothers, they lost faith in themselves. And when a man loses that, when he stops believing he's worthy or of love or respect, the world loses something too. Look, these men are not just telling you stories, okay? They're not just telling you stories of abuse. They're describing how their identity was shaped by pain, and how that pain was has followed them through adulthood and into their relationships and their parenting and their mental health. You see? And just like the first category, that what sounds like hate is really heartbreak, the kind that comes from being wounded by the first person you ever trusted. Now, the other thing is, and this is the one we need to hit, because a lot of you all are dealing with it right now, okay? The third most common reason men said they hate their mothers was generational trauma and learned behavior. That occurred 62, so it came from close second, 62 times it was mentioned. It was almost as frequent as emotional abuse. And that's important because it tells us something deeper. This pain didn't start with them. It was inherited. Okay? Many of these mothers repeated the same toxic behavior they learned from their own mothers or grandmothers or maternal figure. They grew up watching pain passed down from one generation to the next, never broken, just recycled. Repeating the same toxic patterns from their mothers, raising sons in trauma-filled environments and calling it strength, treating emotional coldness as a sign of power. Look, many of these men said their mothers simply repeated what they saw growing up. They watched their mothers scream at men the way their grandmothers did. Let me show you some more videos in case you all don't believe me. Let me show you some examples of what these ladies, what these folk are telling you. Because some of you all are snooty people. You have no idea. Oh my God, I didn't know. Some of you black folks are snooty. This is what they saw. Fair use.
I got lectured in this house.
Let me go.
I got lectured.
This, you see, this is what some fair use. Hey, look, YouTube, don't demonetize this, baby. This is purely for educational purposes. Let's keep listening.
Tom Invasion, I'm asking you.
No, I got lectured in this house. Oh, we ain't about to
Look
go
how
there.
she's grabbing him up.
They said if you got anything
You went on. Look,
You don't got nothing in here. You don't have nothing in my house.
she in his house grabbing him up, right? This is what these children in front of the children.
My shoes, my shit.
There go your shoes.
My shit.
That's our kid. It was my time with him.
My chair. Take my sheets, my fucking toys.
Take the sheet. Ain't no toys here.
Now you all know that she grew up seeing her mama do the same thing to her daddy, right?
Take this stuff, animal.
No, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Police when they say that I have to leave. I don't care. You did it to me. 4870 Duncan Court. That nigga did it to me.
Look at this shit.
What are you talking
Trying
about?
to be a daddy. And still
You ain't
gotta go
trying to
through
be
shit.
shit.
Let me
You
go.
never got my kids until you got your boys.
But this gentleman exhibiting a whole lot of self-control, okay? But again, we're not talking about what the parents are doing. We're talking about what the kids are witnessing. What are these children witnessing? This is how generational trauma is passed down, okay? Mama and daddy fighting in the house. And the gentleman is holding back, and I salute him for that. Let's keep listening.
Go. Stop biting me.
You got him by the dreadlock.
Let my hair go, bro. Let my hair go. Let my fucking hair go. Bro.
Now it's escalating. You see what I'm saying? This is DV. Now it's escalating.
Shut up.
Let my hair go. And I'm beating your brother ass. This is the type of shit I gotta go through to be a daddy. Go sit on the court.
This is the type of stuff I got to go through to be a daddy. Okay? And see, let me say something. I want to say something. I want you all to hear me. It's going to be painful to hear. Let me actually turn the music down. Oftentimes, brothers, we listen to our mother's side of the story and we never really hear what our father has to say. We don't know why he left. And then we learn why he left, and then we have understanding. Now, no intelligent man is going to stay in a relationship with a woman who is erratic like this, okay? Because this is a cauldron waiting to boil over and bubble up. This is a risky relationship, to say the least, okay? I don't know what preceded this. I don't know what happened after, but I know at this particular point, when a person is physically accosting you, it is time to exit that relationship for your own well-being, freedom, okay, and peace of mind, period. But again, what self-respecting man is going to stay in a relationship with a woman like this? And so children don't understand. They don't understand. They think the father left the children until they talk to dad, and dad say, no, son, I didn't leave you. I left your mama. You see, I left your mama. And then what happens is now that the child is in sole custody of the mom, and mom has the child's ear all the days of the week and all the months, all the days of the month. She can say what she wants to say and sell whatever story she wants to sell. And so the child grows up thinking, daddy don't like me. You see what I'm saying? So let's keep looking.
Bitch, I never took my kids from you.
Why you doing it now?
You're being a host to my baby. Just stop.
Now, apparently this is her house. This is his house. So you can't get her out of his house. And so now they're tussling. So now, of course, the police will be called. And, we know how that'll end. Black men, police call. He's probably going to get arrested, But again, and I'm not going to play the rest of that. That's just unnecessary trauma. But, you get the point. This is a mature audience of mature Black people. We get the point. But this is the end result here. Let's listen to this brother.
16 years. Often asked, after 16 years, if I was to see my former daughter, will I speak to her?
Former daughter.
After 16 years. No. No. People, I'm going to tell you something about us Black men. We take scrap respect. Yeah.
Now, I don't. I just want everybody in the chat room to know that Uncle D takes no disrespect at all. I will fight you. I will sue you. I will call the police on you. I will call ICE on you. I will call your mama on you. I will fight your whole family. Let me just be honest with you now. Uncle D just takes zero disrespect from anybody. I don't care who you think you are. I don't put women on pedestals. I don't care if you the mama. I'm gonna check everybody. You see, that's what I need you to understand. And unfortunately, I'm just saying, I'm just gonna put it out there like that. I have made my reputation on being the bad guy. And you can ask all my in-laws, former in-laws, current in-laws, children, anybody. You can ask the cat, and they will tell you Uncle D takes no disrespect. I will check you in a heartbeat, in front of your face, in front of your whole family, and double dare you to do anything about it. Because I got whatever you want, I got it. And I would suggest that all of you, and because all I do is establish boundaries. I'm not gonna let you disrespect me. And see, this brother, God bless this brother, and I know he's doing the best he can, but you should have checked that a long time ago. I believe in taking women to court. Okay, I believe in putting baby mamas in jail. You understand? You gonna go to jail. My baby mama on probation right now, messing with me. You understand? The judge said, you better bring that child to that baby. You better bring that man that baby. I'm gonna put you in jail. You understand me? There's a no holds barred situation when it comes to my children. I'm going to do everything necessary within the confines of the law to make sure that I have a relationship with my children, because I'm not going to end up like this man. You understand me? And I'm going to spend whatever I have to and hire whoever I have to as far as lawyers, et cetera, to do that. Because see, now you're in a situation where your legacy, brother, because the only thing that's important in this world is your children. Not the money. I got money. I got cars. I got houses. I got it all. None of that is important to me as my kids, period. And you don't let no woman come in between you and your kids, especially if we got a legal system right now that says you're supposed to be with your child. You will not deny me of my rights, okay, period. But I'm going to let the brother continue. But, I don't take I don't take disrespect from nobody, man, woman, child, cat. It does not matter to me. I am the bad guy when it comes to that regard, but we're gonna let the brother continue speaking and respect, because but I'm just telling you, me over here, me over with the flower in my shirt, trying to be, handsome. All right, but let's keep it. And y'all see, I got that fresh haircut. Did nobody say nothing about my high fade. I don't appreciate that. Y'all need to acknowledge the fact that I got that high fade and I'm looking dapper today. But anyway, let's keep going.
We're conditioned to take scrap respect. Mm-hmm. We're so in tune to understanding that everybody think if we own homes, we're gonna be a slumlord. If we fathers, we're gonna be deadbeats. All of us good men, we fight and take on the full brunt of the stereotypes that you are as a black man. Yeah, the other guys, it don't matter to them. But us good guys, we the ones that fighting in the court. We the one that making videos. Basically, they don't know how to read it right when we criticize them. Yep. We're trying to get them to act right. I seen a video the other day.
Sometimes, brother, you can't convince people to act right. You just have to force them to act right. See, I use the legal system to force people to act right. I'm going to give you one shot. I'm going to negotiate with you for a minute. You might get a couple of text messages. And after that, I'm filing that motion to enforce and contempt. Okay? I'm trying to tell you, brothers, man, you can't negotiate with terrorists. You can't negotiate with people who want to keep you out. They're not playing fair. Look, and I don't want to get sidetracked because we're talking about why he hates his black mother. This is healing time. But see, part of this, brother, you brothers have got to fight harder. Now, again, I'm not one of these black people that cares if anybody like me. I don't care if white people like me. I don't care if black people like me. I don't care if men like me. I don't care if women like me. I love my wife. I don't care if she like me. I love my children. I don't care if they like me. In fact, they will tell you that he does not care if we like him or not. But what you will do is respect my boundaries. What you will do is respect me. And as I tell my children all the time, when respect is unavailable, fear is sufficient. Okay. And what that means is if you can't respect me, then I'm going to make you fear me. And if that means taking you to court and forcing you to come to court and forcing you to spend money on lawyers, that's how it's got to be. Unfortunately, until they change the legal system, you got to go balls out. If you got an unreasonable person, at the end of the day, remember, family, you slept with that woman. And I'm talking to the men right now. You laid with that woman. You got her pregnant. You got a baby by that child. That child does not want to hear those excuses for why you weren't there. Period. Either you're there or you weren't. Either you're there or you didn't do what you were supposed to do to be there, and so you weren't. So they don't want to hear all that. When they get 18, 19 years old, knocking at your door and they hate you because you were never there. Oh, your mom was doing this, that, and the other. Well, you know what? Too bad. So sad. So before that even happens, I'm going to fight like hell. And if nothing else, my children will know that I fought for them. So I empathize with this brother. But I'm going to tell you, like my divorce lawyer told me the first time I got divorced back in 2010, he said, you married her. I'm just trying to get you out of this. You understand me? That's why I said, damn. You ever something just hit you in the heart like a gut shot? Damn. Responsibility. Be accountable. You laid with these women, fella. Look, I love y'all. Know Uncle D love you, baby. I love you. But you laid with these women. We wouldn't have a hood rat problem if y'all stopped sleeping with them, brothers. Let's just keep it 100. You wouldn't have these unreasonable women if you stopped making them mothers. You got the seed. It starts with you. I done did my time. I got an ex-wife and a baby mama. You see, and a new wife. But you got to learn from that. You see, you can't keep making the same mistake. New wife is totally different than both of them. I had to do some healing myself. You understand me? I had to do some healing myself. Let me say that one more time. I had to do some healing myself before I could bring in somebody that was like-minded. If you unhealed and you out there in the streets unhealed, you're going to run across a lot of people with issues. You see what I'm saying? You got a cold, they got the flu, y'all both sick, y'all should be together. But if you heal, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get with somebody that's healed because you attract on your level. And I'm not talking about finance. I'm talking about emotional, spiritual, etc. You attract on your level. So we can't always shift the blame to mama. And we can't always shift the blame to your children who don't like you. You slept with that woman, brother. And look, I love you. Y'all know I love you. But I got to speak truth to you. Otherwise, there ain't no healing. Remember, this is healing time. Somebody type healing time in the chat room. Hallelujah. Healing time in the chat room. Let's get the brother back.
A black woman said, I like when black men get offed. I've never seen a black man make a video that says that. This is how comfortable they have gotten at disrespecting us, and you've accepted it. My mom, I was paying my mom's rent. My mom talked to me like I was an absolute piece of trash because she don't like my company. My daughter, I didn't do nothing to my daughter.
Brother, your mama talked to you sideways. Your daughter talked to you sideways. And I'm assuming your baby mama talked to you sideways. What does that say? Who is the common, I love you, brother, and shout out to this brother, but what is the common denominator of all these women? To me, respectfully, it sounds like you're not setting your boundaries. I don't care what title they have. You can be mama, you can be daughter, you can be grandmama, you can be ex-wife. You are not going to talk to me disrespectful like that. We will not have a relationship. There is no relationship where there's disrespect, period, because people will step all over your bounds. You ain't going to have me sitting in my car telling you why, confessing to the world, fessing and telling and fessing why I'm hurt. I ain't going to do it. Not from some, no, it ain't going to happen, period, brothers. I'm just saying. I'm got a little off sidetrack, but got my blood pressure up listening to this. Let's keep listening.
My daughter had her own business at 6. She had a key to the office. She knew all my passcodes. She knew everything about me. I said, if anything happened to me, there's an evasive action that you're going to take. Here's the deeds to the houses. There's everything.
Hey, but
didn't matter.
All that.
The fact is, her mother wanted to treat me like shit, and then she joined in.
Brother,
I fought to be a father for 11 and a half.
Baby mama treat you like that. You let her mother treat you like that, brother. You let her treat you like that. You don't have to deal with that woman. You simply file your custody agreement. You file your and get your established DNA, establish parental rights, and you don't have to deal with her. You send your nanny over there to pick the kids up. You send somebody else over. You don't even have to see her ever again. You say, drop them kids off in front of my house. Don't come to my property. Let them walk in. Or you find some other means. That's what you do, brother. You don't accept disrespect from anybody. You set your boundaries. You make people respect you. You establish, you put your mark and say, don't nobody cross that. Period. It's not, look, I am not a nice man. I do not care about your feelings. You disrespect me, it's on and cracking. I don't care who it is. I done sued people in the comment section for saying crazy stuff about me. I'm just saying. You can't keep shifting the blame, and I love them. Look, y'all know I love the brothers. I started off opening my broadcasts up, and I would let the brothers air it out, but I used to talk to them like this too. I love you, but you, brother, this is a lot of this is on you. You let it go too far.
Years. I fought for 11 years, 5 months, and 29 days too much. I shouldn't have fought to be a father.
Brother, I've been fighting for 16 years. 16 years in multiple courts. I told my youngest son, I've spent enough money on your case alone that I could have bought a ranch. You understand me? I could have had a whole ranch. They selling ranches over there for $250,000 in Katy. I could have had a whole ranch with the money I spent fighting, paying lawyers in 3 different jurisdictions for my youngest son. And if you add the child support up, I got a whole fortune I done spent. In attorney's fees and child support, hell, it's over $500,000, and I'm still spending. And that's not even counting the type of money I spent just for the activities. But again, don't feel sorry for me because I got them women pregnant. I did. I wanted to do it. I did. Don't feel sorry for me. Don't feel sorry for me. I don't feel sorry for nobody. You got them pregnant. Now, if you got somebody and they lied to you about who the baby is and who the daddy, that's different. But if you purposely got a woman pregnant, I'm not feeling sorry for you. You got to do what you got to do at that point, brothers, period. Because at that point, the only thing that's important is the children.
Father for one day. I'm retired military, multiple homes. I own 7 cars, 6 of them are BMWs. I have 2 IULs, 1 retirement account that I'm collecting off of the military now. I've never been in
the dog in the backseat.
Never, I don't have no felonies. I'm 56. I'm in good health. I got the goods. And still.
But you lead, brother, you're leading with your wallet, not your character, brother. That's the thing. And I'm not saying this man has it. Look, man, I'm not saying anything negative. And brother, if you'd like to come on the broadcast, I'd love to have you here to talk to you. But you, like so many other brothers, you're trying to be nice. You're trying to fill out a form and say, hey, see, look, I'm qualified. Hell with trying to qualify for these. I got multiple houses and cars. Forget them. You ain't got to put your resume out there to let them know you're good enough. You are good enough. You are good enough now. And again, we're going to go back to how you was raised. You were probably taught as a youngster that you always had to prove yourself. And so you truly don't think you're good enough. I'm telling you, you're good enough. If you don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, you're still good enough. You don't have to parade and perform for these folk. I don't care who they are. You're a grown man. The only person you got to prove yourself to is yourself and our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That's it. You ain't got nothing else to prove to nobody. You understand me? And absolutely nobody. Praise Moses. Hallelujah. Let the brother.
I had to beg my daughter to respect me as a father.
That ain't how you do it.
So 16 years ago, after 11 years of fighting her,
she ain't gonna be
fighting her mother, and only 2 weeks of fighting her, I only fought her for 2 weeks. No. She fucked me over. I said, nah, we ain't doing this now. She did it 2 weeks later, never spoke to him since.
Yeah.
Stop accepting all the negative nonsense because you don't want to fall under the stereotypes. That's why.
That ain't no. A deadbeat daddy is somebody who doesn't take care of his children. I don't let them define what manhood is, period. Okay, period. You don't let anybody define what manhood is. Men define that, but only strong, successful men that I respect. But
I'm quick to call you a deadbeat. They're playing on your morals. After all, the song do go, Papa was a Rolling Stone, and I'll always love Mama, right?
Yeah.
You're conditioned, unfortunately, to accept this bull.
Not me. I'm not conditioned. I don't know how it happened, but I ain't taking it. You understand me? I am not taking none of that. But anyway, we got off track. Look, we talk about the top 10 reasons why black men hate their mothers, okay? And we kind of went over the first two, and we ended up with the generational trauma. And I'm gonna kind of breeze to this. And are you all learning something? If you're learning something, I should earn something. Y'all don't be around here not contributing to the super chat if you're learning something. If you're not learning anything, you don't owe me anything. But gosh, I think I'm learning a lot. Just listening to these folks. But anyway, so just kind of wrapping up the generational trauma thing. It's not just what happens to a person; it's what gets transferred. And a mother who has unresolved, unloved, she was unloved, and she becomes a woman who can't love freely. A child grows up walking on eggshell, and he becomes an adult who calls that normal. And that dysfunction never gets destroyed. It changes form. And when these fellas finally start unpacking their pain, they realize they were never just mad at their mothers. They were mad at the entire system of silence that produced her. And the cycle of women forced to harden themselves in a world that offered them no protection, and the children forced to pay the emotional price for it. That's what we're dealing with. So when you hear words like "I hate my mother," understand it's not just about her. It's about generations of pain that were never given a name. And it's about sons and daughters saying the cycle ends here. That's what you got to do. Now, the next thing is the fourth reason. We're going to the top 5 right now, but this is the fourth reason. Is let me see. When these fellas say they hate their mothers, a lot of it had to do with exploitation and financial manipulation. Okay, this was mentioned 46 times, and that was striking, right? Okay, because how early it starts. Many of you, some of these fellas said their mothers used them for money or forced them to act like a man of the house too early. They had to pay bills. They had to take care of their siblings or emotionally support their mothers as children. Dr. Tia Johnson refers to them as son husbands, okay? And that caused resentment against their mothers when they became adults. You force your son to become a man of the house at a young age. You make him pay bills, or you make him take care of his siblings while you off and about doing whatever. You use your sons for financial gain or emotional support. A lot of Scheherazade Ali said, there's a lot of black men selling dope back in the 80s and 90s, and there was a lot of black women that were there with their hand out when he came from selling the dope. You see what I mean? And a lot of those women were the mothers of those boys. It was sanctioned. You see? Same things happen now. You see? Another thing is they take their money and they also exploit their success in life. You see it all the time. NBA draft, NFL draft. Son gets drafted. Mom is the only one you see on the screen. I remember there was a situation a few years back. A young man was sitting at the NFL draft table, and he not NFL, college draft table. His mother was disappointed because he wanted to go to one school and another. So she literally got up and walked out the doggone press conference. Just embarrassing. You see? That's exploitation of his success. You see? Nothing he can have is his own. She always taking credit for it. Look, these men had to step into adult roles before they even understood what a childhood was supposed to feel like. There was a man that said he was 9 years old paying bills while his mama was out with her boyfriend. And she told me, "You the man of the house now." And there was another man that said when my mom's lights got cut off, she made me ask my grandma for money and said it was my responsibility. And these are children being handed burdens that should have belonged to adults. And a lot of these men talked about it, feeling like they had to care for their younger siblings, cooking, cleaning, babysitting, protecting, doing everything except getting to be kids. And they said they had to grow up fast because their mothers leaned on them emotionally and financially, not as sons, but as partners. Basically, a son husband. That's not parenting, okay? That's parental inversion. That's when the child becomes a caretaker and the parent becomes a dependent. And others describe being used for emotional support, listening to their mother's relationship problems. You got to sit there and listen to the heartbreak. She's sitting there listening to Aretha Franklin, Mary J. Blige, whatever generation. Beyonce, you got to sit there and listen to, You got to hear your mother's frustrations about her life. You got to sit there and listen to it. That's not a child's place. One man said he used to cry his mama used to cry on his shoulder about her boyfriends. He said, I was 10 years old. I didn't even understand what love was yet. And that kind of emotional responsibility is too heavy for a baby. It's too heavy for a child. It doesn't make him mature. It makes him numb. And then here's the financial manipulation. Many said their mothers took their money once they started working. Take their paychecks, took their tax refunds, or borrowing money that they never gave back. Let me just borrow this money. And you 10, 20, shout out to Michael J. And never gave the money back. This dude's right here. You borrow, your mama would go to your little money. You had $10, $15, $20. She'll take it and you'll never see it again. Brother said, when I got my first job, my mama took my debit card and said she'd hold on to it for me. She drained my account by the end of the month. And look, that's not guidance, that's exploitation. You see, it's a lot of men that went off to war in Vietnam. And I got a family member, I'm not going to say name. He went off to war. He sent his mama all his checks. When he got home, all the money was gone. Mama had spent it on something else. This is a relative of mine. I'm not going to be messy. But I've heard that story. This man is 70 years old and still talks about that, something that happened when he was 20. Another brother said as soon as he started making money, my mama told everybody she raised a king and then asked me for rent money every week. That applause wasn't love, it was leverage. Because see, if you still wanted to keep being king, you had to keep giving her that money. You see? That was leverage. And see, that's what this is about right now. That's what we're talking about. Conditional love tied to obligation. When affection comes with a bill attached, that's not love. And these men said they felt like investments, not sons. And there's a lot of men that feel like that right now. That's why a lot of men like, hey, my mama just, you know, she was on welfare, she was on child support. As soon as it was over, she put me out. And every act of kindness they gave was expected. You see? It wasn't appreciated. And what happens when that boy grows up? What happens when he believes his worth depends on what he provides? He turns into a simp. That's why we have so many simps in the Black community right now. He turns into a man who confuses love with service and servitude, someone who can't say no without feeling guilty. That's a deeper wound here. So, you know, when the men talk about hating their mothers, they're really saying you made me your provider before I even knew how to protect myself. That didn't just, they didn't just lose their childhood. They lost their right to be children at all. And that's why that cuts so deep, because it wasn't always, it's not always about violence and whatnot. It's not always, she was loud. Okay, it was quiet exploitation disguised as responsibility, wrapped in guilt and sold as love. Now the other thing is parental alienation. This is top 5. These are the top 5 reasons Black men hate their mothers. This is what we're going over. This is number 5. Everybody on the rebroadcast, you got to look at this, man. This is real stuff, man. This is healing we doing here. I'm putting it out there. This is what you said. Parental alienation and manipulation was mentioned 41 times, turning their sons into weapons. It's the 5th reason why men say they hate their mothers. And see, this one gonna hit differently, because it's not just about what they experienced, it's about what they lost, family. And this was common. Many said their mothers lied about or badmouthed their fathers. They used them boys as pawns during fights, or they blocked them from seeing their dads. A boy needs his daddy. He wants his real daddy. You can't replace him with a stepdaddy. You can't replace him with a play uncle. You can't replace him with a brother. He wants his daddy. He wants his real daddy. And I don't know how many times women just think that men are just replaced. Well, I'll get him a new. You can't replace a boy's daddy with another man. He wants his daddy. Good, bad, or indifferent, he wants his daddy. You got one job as a mother, and that's to introduce the baby to the baby daddy. That's it, the real one. And so these men felt robbed of a relationship with their fathers because of their mother's bitterness. They turn their sons against their fathers. They lie about the fathers, or they block visitation, or they make it so difficult the man just give up. Most men are not like me. I'm hard-headed. I'm gonna fight you to the end. I'm a red nigga. That's what I do. You understand me? I'm gonna fight you forever about my kids. But most men got good sense. They're not like me. They're gonna be like, man, that's too much. I'm gonna spend whatever, do whatever. I'm gonna fight you forever for my children. It's not gonna happen. They belong to who? Me. But most men, if you block the visitation, they like, nah, man, can't, man. That's too much trouble. They use the children as leverage in romantic disputes. Blame the fathers for their own failures and unhappiness. They project their anger at the father onto the son. And see, many of these men said their mothers lied about their fathers, or they poison and abuse, so the boys grow up hating their daddies before they even had a chance to know him, who he really was. They hate their daddies because of what their mama said. Their mama said, your daddy ain't nothing. He left us. He don't care about you. But years later, they found out the truth, that their fathers had been trying to see them, trying to call them, trying to show up, or got blocked or ignored or turned away at the door. You see? One boy said, my mama told me my dad didn't want me. And when he finally met his dad at 18 years old, when he got grown enough to go off and do what he wanted to do, he showed me all the letters he sent that she never gave him. And see, that kind of revelation, it doesn't just create anger, it creates grief, because that's not just losing a parent, that's losing years of love and guidance that can never be replaced. And on top of that, you lose your whole other side of the family. You don't just separate that child from his daddy. What about his grandma and his cousins on his father's side? What about all them people, all the memories, all the good times he could have had? You steal that from that boy. You can never return that to that boy. Some of the boys said that their mothers used, the men said their mothers used weapons in romantic wars to make the father jealous, to get revenge and prove a point. One man said, my mama used to use me like ammo in her fights with my dad. I wasn't a son to her. I was leverage. You see? Another time they argued, she said every time she argued, she grabbed me and say, you'll never see your son again. That's not parenting. That's emotional hostage taking. And that damage doesn't stop there. Some of these women projected their bitterness toward the father onto the sons. They blamed the boy for what the man did or didn't do. One man said, she looked at me like I was him. Every time she saw my face, she saw the man that hurt her. Imagine being hated for a resemblance. That's what the other brother said, the one with the New York hat on. I guess you hate me because I look like him. Imagine being punished for a reflection you didn't choose. And this kind of manipulation teaches dangerous lessons, that love is conditional and family is political. It tells a boy at a young age that affection depends on who's winning the argument that week. And that's how confusion turns into resentment, and resentment turns into hate. And when those boys grow up into men, they start realizing what was stolen from them, and a father's love, a sense of balance, and a healthy model of manhood. And they're left trying to build an identity from half truth. It's men right now that grew up without daddies, and they 35, 40 years old and just learning what it is to be a daddy, looking at this broadcast right now. Ask them. I can tell you right now, when I'm talking to a brother that was raised by a father and a brother whose primary caretaker and role model was a woman, I can tell you that right now. They can be 35, 45, about 50 years old, they start figuring it out. But I can tell you, They know. You had a brother said, my mom made me believe my dad was a villain. Turns out she was the one who kept me from him. And I'll never forgive her for that. Ladies, you got to hear what these brothers are saying. This is what they're saying on the videos I play. And that particular statement echoes dozens and dozens and dozens of stories. Different men, same pain. Because when a mother turns a child against his father, she's not protecting him, she's dividing him. She's cutting him in half. She's forcing him to choose sides in a war he never signed up for. And that's why this category hits so hard. It's not just manipulation, it's theft. Parental alienation is theft. When you take a child away from his daddy, it's theft. That the theft of a son's right to love both of his parents. The theft of a boy's chance to know what healthy masculinity looks like. And in too many of these stories, that loss turned into anger, and that anger grew into hate, and that's why he don't want to have nothing to do with you right now. And see, here's the thing. Underneath the hate is something even different. It's a lifetime of wondering who they could have been if they've been allowed to know their fathers. Boy, we are healing tonight. That's the top 5. Y'all want to hear the 6 through 10? You want to hear the other 5? You want to hear the other 4? You want to hear the other 5, 6 through 10? Y'all want to hear that? If you learn something, shout out to Penny Ford. What's up, baby girl? Always good to have you up in here. Shout out to my girl Penny Ford. She's over in Germany. Last time I checked, she was going to Ohio. Y'all need to go ahead and I know you're learning something. And the fact that I'm brave enough to risk the algorithm banning me and getting all these reprisals and angry messages, you all need, if you learn something, I should earn something. Okay? Don't be cheap with this knowledge, because I'm laying it all out here for you. And this will be chopped up and cut up, and you can use it. This is what is trending on TikTok right now. This is what the people are talking about right now. They're talking about why men hate their mama. You see? Huh? Why? This is what's being talked about. Here's another part.
Bay Area? Wow. I did not see that coming, but unfortunately, I can't unsee it.
This is what they're talking about. This is on TikTok. This is what's trending right now. This is what is trending right now.
Like their mothers, and that's the actual problem. You guys are actually like your mothers, naturally.
They talking about it everywhere. Fair
Your mom
use.
is your mom. You love your mom to bits. But if she wasn't your mom, would you like your mother? She's straightforward like us. She's saying what it is like us. She gossip like us.
Shout out to Eric Ward. Thank you so much. You learned something, I should earn something.
And your aunties and your grannies and your sisters who you always phone and chat to and all of that.
But I feel like a lot of men don't like their mothers.
Now, this is a woman over in London. So they dealing with the same thing over there, because they have a single mother issue over there too. They got a black single mother issue too. And again, this is not something that is just germane to the black community. It goes on everywhere, but because the black community has this special thing where we're not allowed to disrespect our mothers by addressing her for her shortcomings and wrongdoings, it's never talked about. All right, we got 9 super chats. Y'all need to go ahead and let me know you learned something. Shout out to my girl Penny Ford. Thank you so much. And if he don't like his mama, you better run. Oh, I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. Oh, I'm gonna give you some more. I'm gonna give you some pointers and cues. Now, we got 10 super chats, so I'm gonna proceed I don't want to be here all day, all night, all morning. The other thing is, okay, the number 6 reason these men say they hate their mothers was neglect and abandonment. All right, and 29 mentions. All right, so this is not as bad as the other stuff. And yeah, I got the Cash App. Shout out to my man Concrete. Cash App is running across the bottom of the screen, so if you want to hit that, that's cool. And also, look, man, if you want to have a consultation with me, obviously I know a lot about this issue. If you would like to consult with me about this, if you a mom or if you have a young son and you like me to have a conversation with you and him, or if you're a brother and you just need to talk this out, man, hit me up, man. You can email me at spurlingdennis@gmail.com. and we can organize a one-on-one conference and we can talk about it. I mean, I've talked to dozens of men in private about it, and I've talked to thousands of men in public about it on my broadcast. So if you'd like to schedule a one-on-one conference with me, go ahead and hit me up and we'll see if we can. And of course, you know, there's other issues that we talk about in the one-on-one conferences. I got a lot of people right now, but make sure you do that. But I want to go ahead and get back to this thing, man. I want to finish this. I think this is an important conversation. And so we're going to continue doing what we do here. But again, like I said, the sixth reason is that, neglect and abandonment. It was mentioned about 29 times, okay? And what's striking about this one is that it's not always about what their mothers did, but it's also what she didn't do, okay? Many of these men said they felt completely alone growing up, even when their mother was right there in the room. You're like, what are you talking about? They had food, they had clothes, they had a roof over their heads. They didn't have love. They didn't have presence. They didn't have someone who actually saw them. Some of these men said she chose her boyfriends over me. She chose partying over me. She chose drugs over me. She chose other children over me. Think about that. Some of the men said she would leave them with relatives or strangers for long periods while chasing personal desires. You went to college. You dropped that baby off at grandma's house. You went to hang out at the club or with your friends, that little trip to such and such or whereabout, whatever. You see, you wonder why he liked grandma so much. You see? You see? But you left him there for a long period of time. That's why he loved grandma so much. He loved mama. The truth is, a lot of these men love their grandma more than they love their mama because that's who they spend most of their time with as children, especially in my generation, Generation X. We were the latchkey kids, but the truth is we would get dropped off at grandma's house. A lot of them recall being ignored emotionally. Their moms provided food and the shelter, but no comfort. You see? And a lot of men mentioned that they raised themselves. They learned how to survive without her guidance. And these men all often said that the worst part wasn't that their mothers did, it was what she didn't do. You see what I'm saying? Let me run this down. My mom, one young man said, my mom was always around, but she was never there. Right? She fed me, but she never hugged me. That's what emotional abandonment looks like, being surrounded by people, but still feeling invisible. Some of these men grew up watching their mothers choose boyfriends and party and dope. This one brother said, my mom would disappear for days and then come back acting like nothing happened. Another said she'd leave me with random people while she went out to the club. Half the time, I didn't even know their names. And that's not freedom. That's abandonment disguised as independence. Others said their mothers were there physically, but checked out emotionally. They didn't ask about school. They didn't listen when their sons were hurting. They didn't protect them from danger. Several men said their mothers allowed abusive boyfriends into the house, the men who yelled at them, hit them, or touched them inappropriately, and the mothers looked the other way. You don't think that's happening to little boys too? I told you at the top of this broadcast that the most dangerous place for a child is with the new man. It's the most dangerous place. Look at the stats. The man says she saw what he was doing to me. She just didn't want to lose him. And that's not neglect. That's betrayal, because that child is going to grow up and he's going to judge you. You wonder why he don't want to have nothing to do with you. And then, of course, as I said, you got the ones who said, I raised myself. They learn to cook by themselves. They learn how to survive. They learn to hide their emotions, all before they hit their teenage years. One man said, by the time I was 12, I stopped expecting anything from my mama. I just figured I was on my own. And that's how children become hardened adults, not from violence, but from being unseen. And what makes this category so painful is the silence that surrounds it. See, these men aren't angry about harsh words of punishment. They're angry about the emptiness. The birthdays forgotten, the hugs that never came, the times they needed protection and got excuses instead. And when they say they hate their mothers, what that really means is you weren't there when I needed you the most. Because neglect doesn't just break hearts, it starves souls. And for many of these men, the hardest thing to accept isn't that their mothers failed, it's that they never even tried. I did the best I could is not a try. It's a fail. And that's why this category cuts deep. Because the sons didn't grow up fighting their mothers, they grew up waiting for their mamas, waiting for affection, waiting for acknowledgement, waiting for love, and it never showed up. Now here's another one that's gonna hit some of y'all hard, because I'm looking at the comment section right now. The seventh reason, and this is way down the list, so it lets you know what, we just realized it come with the course. The lack of accountability. This has emerged. Why some of these dudes don't want to be around their mom. And it struck a nerve when the men spoke about it. Many said this was one of the hardest wounds to heal from, because it wasn't about a single mistake or a bad decision. It was about a consistent refusal to take responsibility for the pain they caused. You see, the mothers never admitted they were wrong. Some of y'all got mamas like that, never admit she was wrong. The mother always played the victim, even when they were the ones causing the harm. They use guilt, they use religion. The Lord said that. Motherhood, I'm your mother. You only get one mother, as a shield from criticism. I did my best. You should be grateful. And some describe these narcissistic traits. Everything had to be about her. She needed attention, validation, and control. And when confronted with this, she deflected blame onto the fathers. Hell, she even blamed the children. And if she blamed society rather than owning up to her mistake, this is what the men are saying happened. These are their testimonies. Let's not invalidate them because it's hard to hear. Let's not invalidate what these men are saying because it's hard to hear. Because, see, this created deep resentment because the sons could never get closure or a genuine apology for excuses. And you just exacerbate that when you say things like, I hope they get healing. Refusing to apologize or admit wrongdoing. Always playing the victim. Shifting blame to others, especially men. Using religion or motherhood as a shield for criticism. Look, man, these men describe their mothers who could never admit when they were wrong. They played the victim even when they were the ones doing the harm. When their sons tried to address the past, some of y'all have tried to sit up and talk to your mama about some issues, right? About the neglect, the past abuse, the manipulation. The conversation is always going to turn to a guilt trip. What's the best one? I did the best I could. I did my best. Or you should be grateful. Even you had a roof over your head. Or they throw religion out there as a shield. Only God can judge me. Honor your mother and, whatever. Some of these men went even further. They described what they believed were narcissistic traits. Everything had to revolve around their mother. Her pain, her feelings, her image. We see it all the time. It's a funeral going on and you got somebody cutting up, catching the Holy Ghost in the middle of the damn funeral. You ain't the one that died. You just walking through the aisle, falling out the aisle. That's narcissism. You see it in the church on Sunday, every Sunday. Somebody catching the Holy Ghost because they want attention. Always centering themselves. You see? And in the meantime, the boys, their emotions were dismissed. Their achievements minimized unless it's somehow reflected well on the mama. If they tried to speak their truth, she twisted the story until she became the victim again. And when the sons grew up and tried to confront their mothers, they rarely found closure. Instead of hearing, I'm sorry, they heard, you're ungrateful. Or you don't know what I went through. Or you know, what about your daddy? Or blame the daddy. And the result was years of frustration because accountability never came. And without that acknowledgement and healing, it's never going to start. And these men weren't asking for perfection. They were asking for honesty, for a mother who could say, yes, I hurt you. I made mistakes. Instead, they got deflection, blame shifting, and denial. And as one man put it in his video, you can't rebuild with someone who refuses to admit they burned the house down. You understand that? And that's why they ghost their mothers. That's why they don't have nothing to do with you. That's why your house is going to have empty chairs in it. Because you're not going, on Thanksgiving, you're not going to see your son. You're not going to see his children. You're not going to see any of those people. You're going to be over there by yourself. Because you refuse to apologize or admit your wrongdoing. Because you're always playing the victim. Because you shift blame to others, especially him or his daddy or whatever men. Or your daddy. You use religion or motherhood as a shield for criticism, and you center every darn situation around yourselves. Do you hear what these men are saying? That's what they're saying. That's why you want to know, hey, look, hey, it's trending on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about it. Now, the 8th reason, and we wrapping this thing up, and I hope you're learning something. We're going to chop this up, and everybody's going to look at it. The 8th reason, fewer in number, because a lot of people not going to mention. It was only mentioned 18 times. I'm sure it's more, but it's not going to be mentioned. Men are not going to talk about sexual abuse. They're not necessarily going to talk about physical abuse. Talking about physical abuse and the mother abusing them is taboo. Talking about sexual abuse implies that they, you know, were chomoed as children. You see, and that questions their manhood because, you know, obviously it was a bad situation. The truth is it could be a man or a woman, but we're talking about sexual abuse. And it's heartbreaking and it's painful and it's disturbing, these testimonies. There are men who spoke about physical and sexual abuse. They weren't just describing bad parenting. They were describing betrayal in its most devastating form. For them, the hatred and resentment weren't born from disappointment or harsh discipline. It came from deep, unforgettable violations of trust and safety. Some men said their mothers beat them up brutally. And there's some women out there that had to deal. Young girls had to get like hit with belts and cords and fists. You all make fun of it. How many of y'all laugh at the fact, yeah, I used to have to get my own switch. I used to have to get my own extension cord. My mama used to hit me like this in my head and my chest. That's not discipline. That's far beyond discipline. That's abuse. And a couple of them recounted sexual abuse, either by their mothers or men or their mothers' girlfriends. You understand? Others said their mothers knew about the abuse, but they looked the other way, choosing to protect the abuser instead of the child. And the emotional scars from this is lifelong. Many of them said they could never trust a woman again. And this group's hatred was rooted in betrayal at the deepest level, being harmed and left unprotected by the one person who's supposed to keep them safe. Look, physical beating is beyond normal. That's not discipline. Sexual abuse or exposure to sexuality, sexual activity in the home, that's abuse. You understand me? It's kids that describe that their mothers would hit them with fists and bloody them up, break bones, and for small mistakes, or even nothing at all. These weren't moments of correction; they were outbursts of control. The men said their experiences taught them fear, not respect. One man put it plain: she didn't hit me to teach me; she hit me to release whatever the hell she was mad at that day. Shout out to Penny Ford. Even more disturbing were the stories of sexual abuse. A few men said that their mothers directly violated them; their mothers violated them. Others say they were molested by men the mothers brought home. And in those cases, the betrayal was double. First by the abuser, and then by the mother who either didn't believe them or refused to act. And some said that mothers knew exactly what was happening and chose to protect the man instead, keeping him around while their son suffered in silence. And nobody's going to talk about that. Men rarely talk about that, and you can imagine why, but it's dudes right there that had to deal with it. You dealing with all these men fresh out the penitentiary. What you think they doing in them penitentiaries? With little boys that come in there. What do you think they do? What do you think your son looks like to these savages who've been locked up in cages for decades? Your son looks like a damn treat to them. He looks like the normal, he looks like par for the course. And of course, these experiences left scars that never healed. And many of these men said they struggled to trust women to form healthy attachment or even feel safe in a relationship. One man said, how do you love a woman when the first one you ever loved treated you like an enemy? And that question captured the pain shared by dozens of other men whose mothers failed to protect them from the worst kind of harm. And that hatred these men expressed wasn't rooted in simple anger. It was rooted in grief. Grief for the innocence stolen, for the safety that never existed, and for the mother who became the source, not the shield of their trauma. Physical beatings beyond normal discipline, sexual abuse, exposure to sexual activity in the home, allowing sexual abuse by boyfriends or family members or her, turning a blind eye when the abuse was reported. Number 9, the 9th reason why men hate their mama. Several men said that once they grew up, their mothers continued crossing boundaries. Boundaries. And as the sons grew into men, many thought that at the age of maturity might finally bring peace. That, success or fatherhood or even distance. It might soften the dynamic with their mothers. Yet for some, adulthood only exposed new layers of betrayal and hypocrisy. The relationship, it didn't evolve. Instead, the same patterns of control. You 26, she treats you like you 6. You 46, she treating you like you 6. Control, guilt, emotional manipulation. It simply took new forms. So mothers compete with their sons, girlfriends or wives. Y'all have seen this, some girls, friends, and wives. She want to sit in the front seat. Mama want to sit her old ass in the front seat where the wife is supposed to sit. Sit your ass, excuse my language, excuse me. Sit your old ass in the back. Get the hell out of here. You understand me? Mama trying to compete with the wife and the girlfriend. I'm your mama because she's jealous and she's manipulative. You see what I'm saying? You got others who publicly shame their sons on social media and church or relative. A few said their mothers violated their privacy, inserted themselves in adult decisions or try to control their finances or parenting style. And then you got other mothers who betrayed their confidence. She sided with the girlfriend or the boy, the wife or whoever, a friend against the child. Or otherwise repeating private information to embarrass him. Look, man, a lot of these men, they just say the moms just keep on crossing boundaries. She refused to recognize them as men, as adults, as independent adults. And what had once been scolding or emotional blackmail in childhood, it transformed to public shame and a covert competition. A lot of brothers, they recounted how their mothers would post embarrassing or deeply personal details on social media or gossip about them to relatives or church members. Some of y'all, look, man, look, you know what I'm talking about. Shout out to Black Saint. Y'all know what I'm talking about? It was none of that concern. And mama brought it up to, why did she do it? To assert dominance, to preserve her public image. And these men, how many of you all have had relatives, your mama lie on you because you didn't do something she wanted you to do? What does that do? It strips you of your dignity. And it's done by the person who should have helped guard your reputation the most. Some of the men speak about how the mama became jealous or manipulative towards their sons when it came to romantic relationships as far as their girlfriends or wives, like it's some kind of rival. And in these cases, love itself became a battlefield. Some mothers would undermine the relationships through criticism or subtle sabotage, while others demanded loyalty and felt like suffocated. If their sons were not allowed to form new bonds without betraying the old one, your mama always in your business. You know, you a mama's boy. That's a nice way of saying that your mama don't respect your boundaries. She doesn't respect you as a man. Why should your woman respect you if your mama don't? Why can't your mama call your mama can call you out your name, but your girlfriend can't? She'll be like, well, she call you, I'm gonna call you names too. You see? And see, this pattern is bred deep frustration and resentment. Cause see, these boys, these young men, they don't hate their mothers for being imperfect. They hated being trapped in a cycle where accountability never came and independence was punished with ingratitude. And to them, the hypocrisy was unbearable. The same woman who demanded respect never gave any. The same voice that once preached family unity now tore it apart for attention and control. And in the end, many said they longed not for revenge or reconciliation, but for recognition. A moment when mom would finally see them, not as children to manage, okay, but as men who survived their love. Now, here's the last one, and this is a catch-all. A lot of them mention, this is top 10 reasons, and this got 10 mentions. They didn't like their mother's hypocrisy and double standards. And where the you know, and this was a thread that was quietly woven. Okay, this is the backdrop. See, this is behind every other pain that we described. And for many of these men, the realization that their mothers didn't live by the same values that they preached, that was the final betrayal. It was the one that turned confusion into clarity. Oh, okay. It turned hurt into cynicism. See, you got mothers who demand respect, but they were disrespectful. They preach morality or being ladylike, but their behavior, living reckless themselves. A lot of these men notice that their mothers condemn men for cheating or lying, yet they excuse themselves for the same behavior. And some felt that growing up under those double standards destroyed their trust in women altogether. And because it taught them that rules only applied when it was convenient. And these groups, the resentment came from feeling lied to and manipulated by moral contradictions and being told to honor values that their mothers refuse to live by. You expect respect without earning it. You preach morality while behaving immoral. You criticize the men while dating men like those that you criticize. You don't think your children see that? You don't think your sons see that? You demand perfection from your sons while excusing your own flaws. Look, these men, they spoke of mothers who demanded unwavering respect, and they routinely disrespected you. You see, and you're just supposed to take it. They didn't show any. They insisted that their sons embody strength and virtue while they practiced deceit and recklessness. And see, that's not simply inconsistency. That wounded them, and it was manipulation that came with it. These mothers often cloak their behavior in moral superiority, preaching right and wrong, right? As if they were above reproach. They condemn men for cheating and lying, even as they lied to their children or entertain relationship with the very types of men they warned against. That's a contradiction. It taught these boys that trust and morality is conditional. Or condition. That's what it taught them. And see, for some of them, this hypocrisy destroyed the faith in women altogether. It made them wary of love and suspicious of kindness. You know, and it's uncertain whether sincerity even existed between the surface of moral posturing. And see, to them, hypocrisy was more than corrosive than cruelty because it wore a mask of righteousness. It blurred the line between love and manipulation, between guidance and control. And its shadow, many sons learn not just to question their mothers, but to question the very foundation of trust itself. This is what we're dealing with. Those are the top 10 reasons why black men hate their mother. It's trending on TikTok. It's not me. Don't get mad at me. It's trending on TikTok. Did you learn something? Huh? Nobody else gave that to you. Did you learn something? If you learned something, let me know. If you learned something, I need some more water. I done ran out of water over here. But here's the thing. Again, we're talking about healing. We're here to heal tonight. Who's ready to heal now? Who's ready to talk about healing? Huh? Are we okay? Are we okay? Are we okay? Are we ready to talk about healing? Are we ready to talk about healing between mothers and sons? Are we ready? Let me know. Some of you all already. Some of you all can't do it. I'm okay with that. And you should be okay with that. You shouldn't feel guilty about it. But for those of you who are ready, because see, let me tell you something. Look, for some of these moms, this is disbelief. This is their first time hearing this. It's painful, but it's necessary. You come to the realization that your son hates you. He won't speak to you. He's distant. He's disrespectful. And he's sharp with his words. And now he's grown. And now that he finally has the autonomy to make his own choices, it feels like he's pushing you away. It feels like he's trying to make you feel the same pain he felt up growing. He growing up. Unseen, unheard, dismissed, or controlled. And the truth is, in some cases, that's exactly what he's doing. He's not trying to reconcile with you. This is your son. He's trying to reverse the power dynamic. He's trying to make you sit in the pain that he had to sit in all those years. And some of these men, your sons, have reached a place where they need distance to breathe. They've decided that the only way to protect themselves is to separate from you entirely. They don't want to have nothing to do with you. And as hard as that is to accept, sometimes you got to let them go. You can't force healing. You can't guilt the man into a relationship, not even your son. And for some, that distance is going to be permanent. He ain't going to see you till your funeral. And for others, it's temporary. But you have to understand something. You can't chase a son who's still bleeding. He has to come to you when he's ready, if he's going to come at all. Because if you chase him before he's healed, he will lash out at you. He will say things meant to cut you. He's going to humiliate you. He's going to talk to you with disrespect and tear open old wounds because he's still fighting the ghosts of his childhood. Shout out to Philip Burrow. He learned something. Now, this is tragic, but you can't fix that by begging or demanding. You can only fix it by healing yourself, Mom. Now, if we get in a situation where both people want to heal, you got mother and son who genuinely want to heal, who tired of the silence and the resentment and walking on eggshell. Both people, you can't be ready to heal and he don't want to heal. No, that ain't how this is working. Both of you all want to heal. You're tired of it. You want peace. And you don't know how to find it. Here's some steps. Let's start with accountability. Not blame, accountability. Mother has to be willing to say, I hurt you. I did not know how to love you the right way. And the son has to be willing to say, you weren't perfect, but I'm ready to move forward. You see? And that's it. Because see, healing begins where defensiveness ends. You can't, both of the people got to say that. He not ready, you not ready, it's not going to work. The other thing is you got to create space for the truth. Let the son speak without interrupting him. Stop trying to correct or justify or argue with him while he's telling you. Listen to understand, not to respond or to defend. And the son has to do the same. Listen when your mother explains her side. Pain has to be heard before it can be released. The other thing is, set some boundaries. Healing doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. We can't forgive and forget. We're going to repeat that cycle. Setting boundaries, it means defining what respect look like going forward. That might mean fewer conversations at first. It might mean meeting in public places as opposed to this person's house or that person's house where they might get a little too comfortable to violate a few boundaries. Sometimes when mama get with her sisters and relatives, she might start speaking out the side of her mouth and going a little too crazy with the conversation, and you got to go because she feel empowered. Nevertheless, whatever it takes to create safety, do that. The other thing you could do, bring in a neutral voice. And I mean a neutral voice. Not some of these therapists that are jaded and side with men or women. Not some of these counselors. Not a pastor, especially if somebody contributes to tithes too much. I don't have $1,200, pastor, to give you. I know you wanted $2,000, but I ain't gonna give you but $12. How about that? I'm a matter of fact, when that tray come along like this, I'm gonna thump it and look, then send it on. Then pass it on to the next one. Hallelujah. The Lord knows my heart. How about that? The Lord knows my heart as I let that tray pass by. You see that pastor say, look, we are, this is the $2,000 line. And you gave $1,200. That is not that's not what we demanded here today. This is the $2,000 line. You need to go get in the $1,000 line. Disrespectful. But anyway, don't get any, you need a neutral voice, okay? Or you could even get somebody that's wise and older that can help bridge an emotional gap. And sometimes it takes someone who isn't emotionally invested to keep the peace and guide the dialogue. Feel free to contact me. If you want me to help y'all get something together, I'll tell everybody what I think, okay? We can set up a conference. You can email me at spurlingdennis@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to do some Zoom conferences and we can help some people. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell you his side. I'm going to tell you her side. You understand? And I don't care if you like me or not, as long as you pay your consultation fee. But the other thing is you got to forgive, not forget. See, forgiveness isn't saying it's okay. We're never saying that. It's saying it happened, but I won't let it control me anymore. Both the mom and the son have to choose to let go of the need to be right and instead focus on being free. And the other thing is you got to rebuild slowly, so don't rush the process. Trust is like a muscle, okay? It's weak because it hadn't been used. And you have to work it gently. Text her, have a little coffee meeting, share a moment of laughter. You see? Get off the phone. Get up away from around there. Because see, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. The bottom line is mothers need to understand that some of your sons aren't angry, they're wounded. And sons understand this. Some of your mothers weren't evil, they were broken. They're just people too. The Bible says we are all filthy rags. She's just she like the rest of us. She's a human being. And the problem is hurt people often hurt people, and the ones closest to them, and the cycle just repeats. But it can't stop. Look, it can stop with you. Both sides, humble yourself enough to do the work. Healing isn't about what's right. It's about who's ready. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do, whether you're the mother or the son, is to give each other a space to grow into forgiveness, because reconciliation doesn't start with contact. Just because you call them doesn't mean you can reconcile. It starts with clarity, compassion, and courage. Now, I want y'all to come in tight. Listen to me. Let me bring my chair back up higher. I'm going to bring this chair back up. Listen. Some people, you look, you can't be healed. Some people understand. Now, we walk through the 10 most common reasons why so many black men say they hate or resent their mother. Now, we need to talk about what comes next: healing and avoidance. Let's be honest. Not every man is ready to heal. Some of these brothers have so much unresolved trauma towards their mothers that it spills over into how they treat every black woman they meet. You know them because they can't stand being around black women for long. You might not see it on the first date. In fact, some of them will sleep with you on the first date if you let them. They'll compliment you. They'll even play the role for a while. But that's not love. That's biology. That's sexual gratification and desire. That's need, not connection. And once that act is done and they get tired of you, they'll disappear. They'll ghost you or start arguments just to create distance. These are the men who haven't separated their mother's image from your identity. They're triggered by your voice, your tone, your assertiveness, anything that reminds them of the woman who hurt them. They'll say things like, "You sound just like my mama," or "I don't deal with women who act like that." That's not about you. That's about an emotional scar talking. And when you hear that, believe it. Don't try to love him through that. Don't make excuses for him. Avoid him. Because here's the truth. You can't build peace with someone who's still at war with his past. Until a man makes peace with his mother, until he processes the hurt and faces it and forgives, he's going to repeat the pain with every woman who reminds him of her. So if his mama was black and you a black woman and you remind him of his black mama, he's going to repeat that pain with you. So when we talk about healing, we're talking about two things. For men, do the work. Go to therapy, pray, get a journal. We used to have panels of black men. We would talk. I know, shout out to all the brothers who used to participate in the panels we had. I know that was helpful, and I'd like to do that at some point in the near future, but I got Uncle D tired. You know what I'm saying? I can't be up late talking to y'all all night. I got stuff to do. But whatever it takes, stop the bleeding on women and who didn't cut you, brothers. Now, for women, learn to recognize those unhealed men. Watch how they talk about their mother. Listen when he mentions her. If there's bitterness, if there's venom, if there's silence, then that's a red flag. Avoid the ones who are still broken and give space to the ones who are trying to heal, because only healed men can build healthy families, and only healed families can rebuild communities. And that's what I'm focused on. You understand me? Now, brothers, where my brothers at? All the black men, come to the front of the room, because this is still Uncle D's broadcast. Ladies, if you don't want to hear this, close your ears. Because black men, there are women that you need to avoid. Women just like those mothers that I spoke of. Because see, just like there are black men who still carry hatred and resentment toward their mothers, There are also black women who are their mothers, emotionally, spiritually, and behaviorally. If you're a black man trying to heal, you cannot build peace with a woman who keeps dragging you back into the same chaos you just escaped. I don't care how fine she is. If your goal, brothers, is to break generational curses, you've got to learn how to recognize her. The woman who mirrors the same energy that traumatized you. She might not look exactly like your mother, but she'll make you feel the same way your mother did. Disrespected, manipulated, unseen, and unappreciated. It's the same thing you saw that brother talking about in his car. His mama treated him the same way his wife treated him, and his daughter treated him the same way his mama and his wife treated him. Now, here's what you need to look for. She's a manipulator. She uses guilt and emotion to control you. She'll cry and play the victim or use sex and silence as punishment. She never apologizes. Instead, she'll make you feel like you crazy for even bringing up the issue, the manipulator. Or what about this one? She wants to challenge you. She's a masculine challenger, if you will. Everything is a competition. She don't want a partnership. She don't want a man. She wants power. She'll talk over you, dismiss your feelings, mock your leadership, do it in public, do it in private. And she calls it being strong. But what she's really doing, brother, she's trying to dominate you. You better run. The other thing is the narcissist. Everything has to be about her. Her problems, her opinions, her validation. When you succeed, she gets jealous. When you're struggling, she disappears. You'll find yourself emotionally drained because her love is conditional and self-centered. And then, of course, you got the bitter mother archetype. And this is the woman who hates men, but won't admit it. Every conversation comes back to how men ain't nothing. And y'all can put a 4-letter expletive in there. She sees every disagreement as disrespect. If you stay long enough, she'll start trying to raise you instead of love you. She's sitting there correcting you and criticizing you and mothering you like you're her child, not her man. Now, the other one is you got a woman that she's neglectful and she's cold. She withholds affection and empathy. When you're vulnerable, she mocks you. How many of you brothers in here have been in a relationship with women that call you a bitch ass N-word? Because you complained about how your day was, or she saw you shed a few tears or something like that. And then she'll turn around and use that against you. You share your deepest, darkest secrets with her, and she turn right around and use that against you. Huh? You open up and she weaponizes your emotions against you later in an argument. Woo. See, she mistakes detachment for strength, and she calls empathy weakness. That you got to run away from that woman. And then here's another, the hypocrite. She demands loyalty and honesty and consistency, but she ain't. She won't give it back. She talks about high value and her standards, but her whole life is chaos and poverty and low standards. She'll condemn the same behavior she engages in. And see, you'll know you're dealing with this kind of woman by how she makes you feel. When you leave her presence, do you feel drained or do you feel inspired? Do you feel respected or do you feel managed? Do you feel like a man or do you feel like a little inept boy walking on eggshells trying not to upset your mama again? If it feels familiar, that's your red flag. That's not love. That's history repeating itself. Brothers, listen to me. You cannot build a new legacy with an old wound. You can't raise a family with someone who embodies the same dysfunction you're trying to heal from. Love doesn't have to hurt. And manhood doesn't require suffering in you for you to constantly prove yourself to some woman. Avoid women who remind you of your trauma. Heal and choose peace, brothers, because every healed man who walks away from dysfunction makes room for a stronger family and a stronger Black community. And that's what I want. You understand me? That's what I want. Now I'm going to take the time to read these 14 super chats. I've been here for 2 hours and 54 minutes, and apparently it's only been 14 people who've learned something on this evening. Now that's unfortunate. That means I got to do a much better job, which means if that's all I can do, I might need to retire from these YouTube streets. Maybe that's what I need to do, because clearly, if I've been breaking this down like this and y'all ain't learning, maybe I'm speaking Greek. I'm not sure. I do better, I guess, if I keep doing this. Let me go ahead and give a shout out to all the people who contribute to the Cash App. Let's start with them, okay? Shout out to all the people who contributed to the Cash App. But again, if you didn't learn nothing, I shouldn't earn anything. Shout out to my man, Jamal Robinson. Thank you so much for that $100 bill. Appreciate you, brother. Corey Peterkin, thank you so much for the $5. My man, Lucifer Ratziger, always good to see you up in. Thank you for the $5, man. I appreciate that. Now let's talk to. Now look, we got 14 super chats. That's low, and y'all know. And y'all can give me a little bit more, but only if I earn something. Only if I earn something. Now look here. Let's go ahead and play the music again. And look, hey, don't be offended. You can be mad, but you should be glad. And the reason you should be glad is because somebody's willing to talk about this unpopular subject. Somebody just doesn't care. A lot of, the other YouTubers, they don't want to talk about this. They'll lose people. They ain't going to talk about this. They'll lose followers if they talk about it. It's going to be some people now mad at me in the comments. I can't believe you said that. You ain't mad. I don't care. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell it. And I don't care if you don't like it. Because we need to heal. You understand me? Now, shout out to Hoss Martin. We got, let me get the music playing. Let's go and get that music moving. See if we can find something else. Mm-hmm. We can't do that. Let's see what we got. None of that is acceptable. Let's move on. Let's go back to what I like to play. Let's see here. All right. Okay. Shout out to my man Hoss Martin. Thank you so much. He said, amen, sir. Thank you so much for the super chat. We got my man. Maybe we'll get 15 super chats before I finish. We got 14. Shout out to my man, Bad Guy, but only if you learn something. Look, seriously, man, I know times are hard out there. I appreciate that. That's why I work real hard to try to bring you all new things that nobody else is discussing. And I got the balls and the courage to do it. All right. So, but yeah, we got 15 super chats. Okay, we rolling. Well, let's go for 20. That'll be plenty. All right, that'll be 20. That's like, yeah, let's get 20. Shout out to my man, Bad Guy. She was awful, and I'm glad she's gone. Oh, my God. But this brother's telling you how he feels about his mom. She was awful, and I'm glad she's gone. You can't be mad at him for being honest. Thank you so much, Cody Marshall. Salute to you, Uncle D. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. Always good to see you. Black saying, all my old school guys are here. Shout out to the Ice Lords, man. Always good to see my old school fellas have been here for years. Black saying, how can I be attracted to that anger? Thank you so much, Black saying. Quiet Faith. Black BW conduct war against the father and dissolve the family structures to form a matriarchal home, yet they don't want to be seen as treasonous by their children. It destroys their moral credibility. Thank you so much, Quiet Faith. Solo Dolo, let me see here. Thank you for the $5 super sticker. Michael J. Tell it all, Uncle D. I'm telling it. Shout out to my girl, Penny Ford. Thank you so much, baby. She's been a member for 8 months, dedicated to the cause. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Eric Ward, thank you for the $10 super sticker. Miss Penny Ford, thank you again for the $23.99. And if he don't like his mama, you better run. True story. That's true. That's very true. Concrete, Penny Ford. We got 16 super chats. We might get to 20. Can we get to 20? That'll be plenty. Before I finish with this broadcast, shout out to Concrete, my girl Penny Ford again with the $11.99. She said, wondering what happened to my mother led me down the rabbit hole of what happened to my grandmother. Wow, generational is generational. Didn't start with her. That's why if you can sit down and listen to what they dealt with, you will learn a lot. It's generational. Shout out to Black Sand. Don't get mad when he married and date outside the rape. Bro, I'm gonna hit on that in a minute. Give me a minute. Shout out. We can't see them as attractive now, and now you know. You hear that? I want you all. Let's see what this brother said. You see why we have such a large out of wedlock, large interracial dating population amongst black men? It has a lot to do with the fact that they don't like their mothers. And when they see black women that remind them of their mothers, they just like, I'ma just can't do it. It's too much, they're triggered. And yeah, Latino women, white women, we know they have problems. We know Asian women have problems. They all got their own hang-ups. Okay, but it's not the same trigger that triggers black men. That's what I need you all to understand. I talk to enough Latino men on a daily basis and enough Latino women to know that them folk trigger each other all day. He act just like my dad. Muy difícil, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But those are not the triggers that trigger black men and vice versa. You understand? And so it is what it is, man. I mean, are we going to deal with it or not? We're going to speak honestly, because if we can get past this, if we can get past this mama trauma, if we can get past these issues, we'll be a lot further on as a group of people. This would take a big chunk out of the gender war. You had a loving black mother to grow that taught, oh man, it's going to be nearly impossible for you to marry outside the race. You're going to be looking for somebody just like your mama, as opposed to looking for somebody the total opposite of your mama. All right, so I'm just keeping it 100 with you, man. We're healing. Somebody type healing time in the chat room. Never be said that Uncle D didn't come with the healing time. We are healing. Hashtag healing time, okay? Hashtag healing with Uncle D, all right? But Philip Furrow said, great topic. Thanks, God, for you. So thank you. So all praise to the Most High. John Dow, thank you for the $10 super sticker, and also quiet for Mr. Spurling. Thank you for speaking business. Hey, man, family, yeah, I do that, man. We got $50. That's the largest super chat that I done got in a long time. Appreciate you. I thought I was falling off. Good looking out, man. Appreciate you. Intricately tangled. Thank you so much. My mom would say your children will always tell you the type of parent you were. Ooh, won't them kids grow up and give you a grade? Those children grow up and give you your report card, don't they? They sure do. Well, we got 17 super chats. I appreciate everybody. We didn't get to plenty, but 17 is plenty. We didn't get to 20, but 17 is plenty. We are healing time with Uncle D. Now, let me give y'all something to go by. All right. I got a little bit more time left. Maybe we'll get to 20 super chats before I end. But look, again, like I say, if you didn't learn something, I don't earn anything. But if you learn something, I should earn something. Let me say that again. You don't owe me anything. I clearly do this for free. Okay. Because if I didn't like to do it, I wouldn't be here all the time. I'm putting 5 videos out a day and whatnot. But one thing I don't do for free is I don't practice law for free. So let me say it like this. Let me look right in the camera. Look here. If you've been involved in a motor vehicle accident anywhere in the United States of America, I have friends all over the country who practice law. I personally am licensed in 6 states. So if you've been involved in a serious motor vehicle accident, call me at 713-229-0770. I'm down here in Houston, Texas. It's my home territory. Okay, I know you all ain't trying to pay me for the super chat. That's cool. I appreciate what you've done, but I get it. Okay. But let me work for you. And look, if you've been involved in a car accident, trucking accident, slip and fall, something like that, look, I don't get paid unless you get paid. So you're not paying me. So I'm literally working for you for free again, just like tonight. Now, if I get paid, I want my money. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to let y'all do me like y'all did Dr. Umar Johnson. Umar Johnson gave up his career as a child psychologist, working in the schools of Philadelphia, to go ahead and try to build a school for you all. No, for you people. Okay, he tried to build a school for you people, and he gave up his little career as a psychologist and tried to build a school. And guess what? Y'all stopped the Cash App donations. Y'all stopped the super chat. Y'all not gonna do me like that. No, I'm gonna keep practicing law. I ain't never gonna retire. I will never ever retire. You all gonna keep paying me because I like my $1,000 suits. You understand me? And I like living the life I live. Praise God. Hallelujah. But either way, seriously, if you've been involved in a car accident, call me at 713-229-0770. I am the same person in person and on the telephone as I am now, except, again, for you all who don't know, I've been voted inducted into the Hall of Fame for attorneys at the Southern University Law Center in Baton Rouge. So my peers think highly of me. So all jokes aside, the talent does transfer to real life skills, man. And you can look me up online. I got a lot of people who said wonderful things about me because I'm good at what I do, man. And I love what I do as an attorney. And so you guys make sure you hit me up again at 713-229-0770. I certainly would appreciate your business. I actually have a couple folk out here who have contacted me from the internet. And you know, man, I'm a real down to earth person, man. I love what I do. I appreciate what I do. And I service all. I got white client, black client, whoever, you know, Hispanic. I got plenty of folk. All they want is the money. They want to win. Call Uncle Dan. You understand me? But anyway, let's go ahead and get back to the broadcast. Shout out to everybody who contributed to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. I think I had one more come through, and then we're going to get to this thing, and we're going to wrap this thing up. We're going to put a bow on it. Look, fam, we are talking about why he hates his black mother. And what we learned is not, and shout out to Julian. Thank you so much. And Jason, good looking out, man. The Cash Apps came through at the end. Good looking out. Okay, but let me turn this music off because this is serious business. And, you know, of course, I add a little humor to it because it's such a tragedy. You know, it's such a tragedy. Man's first love is his mama, you know, and you know, and when that doesn't happen, it just affects his whole life. And we can't just continue to dismiss that and think we're going to get true healing in the black community. We're not. It's hard for a black man to love a black woman if he don't love his mama, and you can't blame him for it. But if he had to deal with some of these things that some of these brothers are saying they had to deal with. If you like the broadcast, let me know. Okay, hit the number 1 button. If you like the broadcast, let me know. Now, here's the thing, family. I started off. Okay, we're resting, right? Oh yeah, make sure. Oh yeah, I forgot. Thank you, Slim Shaby. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're marching to 100,000. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. But let me get back to this work. Let me say how I can say this. We're resting. We started off talking about that because, you know, but I need you to understand there's something deeper. Okay. This time that where the world is going crazy and we are not on the racial hot seat and you got Donald Trump sending folk home and breaking up families, it's time for our family to come together. Along with boycotting African businesses and telling the Latinos we not coming out there to fight ICE and telling white folk we are not going to come save your country again. This is a perfect time for black Americans to heal. See, rest without reflection is just avoidance. But when you sit still long enough, the truth starts to talk to you. And that's why this subject matter is tending on it. Damn it, I'm telling y'all. It's the thing you talk, it's the thing you think about when you're at peace. This is your truth. I talk about it in my books, Rules to Live By. The thing why are we talking about unhealed black men's trauma from their mothers? Because it's on their mind right now. They have enough peace to talk about that trauma that they're dealing with right now. And see, for some of you, this truth is uncomfortable. Even tonight, some of you folk are so offended by what you've heard. And that's good. That's how you know that the message hit home, because this is what healing looks like in practice. Healing doesn't feel good. When you get a bone reset, that doesn't feel good. When you get a root canal, that doesn't feel good. Healing feels like being exposed. It feels like somebody finally saying the thing everyone's been too scared to say. If you weren't bothered, it didn't apply to you. If you had a wonderful, beautiful mother that treated you well and loved you, man, this ain't your conversation, baby. And shout out to all the good mothers out there, all the beautiful black moms who are wonderful today. Shout out to you. We're not putting all you in the same category by any means. And I don't want anyone to go away this night saying that. We're not disrespecting all black mothers. We have wonderful black mothers. We're beautiful people. Look how successful we are. Who you think are raising these middle-class black men and whatnot? Look at all these successful black men. Now, I'm going to say this. Your brother's going to be angry with me. In 1965, 60% of us was living below the poverty line. In 2025, only 17% of us are living below the poverty line. Black men have more education than they ever did. And I'm going to tell you something. I've talked to enough black men from back in the day to say it wasn't their daddy that was trying to get them to go to college. It was their mothers. It was their mothers that told them financial responsibility. It was their mothers that did that. So we are not going to sit up here and speak ill about black women when they push black men to have 1.7 million millionaires to 60% of black men have reached the middle class by the time they hit middle age. These men were raised by their mothers. Let's give these women credit for that. I'm just saying. My uncle told me, his daddy said, don't worry about going to school. You're going to stay out here in the fields. It was his mama that wanted him to get an education. And a lot of old black men will tell you the same thing. It was black women that pushed education. Not saying that they were not discounting dad, but I'm just saying, I'm looking at the stats. So we've had wonderful black mothers throughout her, irrespective of her imperfections. Okay, brothers? Now that being said, if it feels like somebody finally said something that you were too scared to say, that's good. If you're bothered, that's good. If you're not bothered, then it didn't apply to you. But if something in the message got under your skin tonight, if you felt your chest tighten and your eyes water, that means you're not healed yet. If you were triggered by something I said tonight or something some of these folks said tonight, you've still got work to do. Ladies, you keep asking your son why he won't come home for Christmas. You keep asking him why he won't answer your phone or it goes straight to voicemail. You want to know why he speaks rough to you. Why he brings that girl around but never brings her to meet you. Why he avoids you at family gatherings. Why he looks uncomfortable when you try to hug him. This is it. This is the reason. You're one of the ones. You might not have meant to harm him, but the damage is still there. He doesn't hate you per se. Not the way you think. He just doesn't like who he became around you. He tolerates you, maybe. He shows up when it's convenient. But tolerance is not love. And silence is not peace. And for some of these men, the athletes, the entertainers, you know, the brothers who made it out the hood, it runs even deeper. They grew up watching their mothers fight and scream and manipulate and destroy every good man who came close. They saw it. They lived it. They internalized it. They grew up in the ghetto. Well, whatever problem is going on is worse when there ain't no money, especially when there's no father. And then he finally got free. He finally made it into that big college in the SEC or the ACC. They gave him some money. He got an NIL deal. And as soon as he got access, he ran. Not because they hated their people, but because they couldn't stand to be reminded of their pain. So they date outside the race. Not because they think white and Latino or Asian women are perfect. Hell no. Anybody that's dated a white, Asian, or Latina woman know they ain't perfect. But because those women don't trigger them. Not in the same way. They don't sound like their mother. They don't carry that tone. They don't remind them of that pain. And for some of you mothers, that's the hardest truth you'll need to face. You're your son's first heartbreak. He loved you. He loved you before he even came out of your womb. He loved you. He depended on you. You fed him. You were his first teacher. You were his nurturer. And you crushed that innocence before the world even had a chance to. Now, healing is still possible, but you can't rewrite the past. But you can stop repeating it. But you're going to have to stop defending it. What's broken is broken. You can try to repair what's left, but that's going to take two. Nevertheless, if this message made you cry, good. If it made you angry, that's even better, because you're finally feeling something real. You're finally facing it. And this is what healing looks like. It's raw, it's ugly, it's uncomfortable, but it is a necessary truth. And until we face it, we'll keep losing generations of Black men who don't trust Black women who raised them, and the Black women who don't recognize that the Black men that they birth. Trust will set you free. But first, it's going to hurt like hell. This is Uncle D. I love you all. And as always said this time, I am out.
In the Spurling podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe.